Decision soon. Just a thought. The NFL trade deadline has passed. Who's going where and why? And Aztecs basketball tips off tonight from the Mesa. A preview is on the way now from the studios of San Diego Sports 760. Here's John and Jim.
Hi, San Diego and Southern California. What's going on? This is hour one of John and Jim, and we are with you here for the next 4 hours. Okay, so there's a lot to react to. There is San Diego State basketball tonight. We do have giveaways. I'm trying to think. Okay, there's a lot to react to. We'll get to it. All right, Darvish is obviously where we're starting here today. And it's almost like, I hate to say we told you so, but this is so predictable, obviously. You go into last year, he misses the first half of the year. Why? Because of an elbow issue. Then they navigate their way through a couple of months, Jim, where he's relatively ineffective. He's all of a sudden out there in game 3 of the wildcard series. He pitches terribly, obviously. And we're heading into the offseason thinking, well, is he even going to pitch again, just based on everything that we saw? And today, I mean, it's a double whammy for me because has the Tommy John, like you just said, but you're going to be paying him. And I get it. The expectation was probably he was going to finish off his contract. He was going to be paid. But you don't have him in 2026. You're paying him for 2026. Who knows if he ever pitches again? So it's like the offseason of bad news kind of continues here for the Padres. Dodgers win the World Series. You don't have a manager. And now Darvish will miss 2026. Now, I don't think you or I counted on Darvish really pitching in 2026, but I don't know if I was necessarily expecting them to be paying him for the remainder of the deal either. Maybe I was naive with that, but I'm not shocked he's not going to be pitching. It's just disappointing to know that they're only going to have so many dollars to spend, and they're not going to have any dollars because Darvish is under contract for the next 3 years.
Is anybody surprised by this?
Right. It's not surprising.
Not in the slightest. If you are a person out there that is surprised about this news today, you weren't watching the regular season and you weren't following what was going on with Darvish this entire year. Like up and down and rehab start and shutting down and then coming back and looking ineffective and changing his arm slot. And like, this is the least surprising thing right now that I of the offseason. I didn't expect Darvish to really be effective next year anyway. At the, couple months ago, I was like, all right, Darvish, his arm's cooked. I even said as much. I go, look, my theory on this is his arm's cooked. He's pitching this thing out. I mean, credit to Darvish for going out there, but at the same time, he's not effective, so he's not really helping the team. And my first thought when I saw this today wasn't that it's not surprising at all. It's the fact that this team chose Darvish to pitching a decisive game 3 on the road instead of Michael King. Now, would it have mattered if they went Michael King instead of Darvish? We'll never know.
We'll never know.
But I mean, the offense sucked. So it's like, the offense was still the offense is what I'm trying to say. It doesn't matter who was on the mound. This team was not scoring runs anyway. But the fact that like they all knew that this dude's arm is cooked and they still decided to pitch him in a decisive game 3 over Michael King is absolutely wild.
Yes, I agree with that. I think it tells you a little bit about where they were with their pitching in general. You had a Michael King that kind of like Darvish was hurt and ineffective.
Maybe King was hurt too. I don't know.
You're choosing almost like the lesser of two evils. I completely agree with your point. I completely agree with that. And none of this to me, again, is surprising, but it's almost like, here's my analogy. It's not surprising when you get your credit card bill, but sometimes when you see it, you're like, oh my gosh, did I really spend $8,000 this month? It's coming. You bought the TV, right? You bought the couch. It's going to be $8,000, but you kind of put it off. There is no part of me today that was surprised to learn that Darvish would not be pitching in 2026. I believe you'll never see him pitch effectively again in the major leagues, unfortunately. I don't know if you'll ever see him appear in the major leagues. To come back from Tommy John as a 40-year-old is a challenge and not a guarantee even in 2027. So that part of it isn't surprising. It's just like when the taxes are due, it hurts. And like now they're owing Darvish $16 million in 2026. He's still owed money for 2027 and 2028. And you spent time yesterday going down this path, and I agree with it. Like they don't have unlimited resources. I was hopeful, and this is naive of me.
It is.
I thought some of the offseason plan was, listen, they're going to have a lot of money freed up, including you, Darvish. He's going to transition to a front office role. They'll renegotiate his deal. He's done. He's retiring. They're going to free up $16 million. They're going to use it. I was wrong. They're not freeing up $16 million. They have other money coming off the books, like Luis Ariz, Michael King, for example, Dylan Cease. But the Yu Darvish money is pretty damning. $16 million a year. I mean, you're running down the Eric Hosmer path again, but this time with a pitcher.
I don't blame Yu Darvish one bit.
It's not about blaming Yu Darvish. It's just about.
Well, I see that narrative out there of like, he should have retired. I can't believe he's doing this to the Padres. What do you mean? He's owed this money. If I was in his shoes, I would do the exact same thing. I'm not leaving close to $46 million on the table, which is what he's owed, by the way. No,
he's owed.
He's owed $16 million this year. He's owed $15 million in 2027 and $15 more million in 2028.
Yeah, that's $46 million.
$46 million he's owed over the next 3 seasons. Would you leave $46 million on the table?
No, it's not. I agree with you. I agree with you. Although oftentimes when players do retire because of injury, there's some type of negotiation but
you're not getting all that money is what I'm saying. Like you're going to get some, or they're I don't know the whole dynamics of it.
Yeah, I agree.
But still, if Darvish believes that he can pitch again and he wants to go out there and compete, he's not going to retire and he's not going to leave that money on the table, more importantly. So yeah, is it a blow to the Padres in multiple ways? 1, to their rotation, and 2, to their pocketbooks. Like, yeah. But if you're Yu Darvish, I don't blame the guy one bit. Now, I think we all looked at this and said, dude, your arm is cooked. This is it, man. I don't know if you can keep doing this. And we all kind of hoped that he would realize that and retire. I mean, I don't know how he's going to return after this at 40 years old. And by the way, there might be even a lockout in 2027. So can you really expect to pitch after 2 years of not pitching if there's some kind of crazy lockout in 2027? That's wild to me.
Well, that's uncontrollable. You can't plan on 2027 not existing.
But I'm just saying, if that scenario did happen, even though
then he's done. I still go back to
all that money is going to be owed to him, and the Padres have to pay it.
Well, the lockout is a whole nother conversation. Nobody's paid in the lockout. But here's the thing. At the end of the day, he made 15 starts for them this year and 15 starts for them last year. You were never counting on him in 2026, and I'm not counting on him in 2027. Honestly, the way you spin this is that it's a really bad deal signed by the Padres, obviously. I mean, it goes without saying. Preller, for the praise we've given him the last 2 years, there have been some really bad deals in here, and that's going to happen when you're a GM in baseball. The Darvish deal was a AAV, quote-unquote, friendly deal that has backfired, and it looks a lot to me like the Eric Hosmer deal. It looks a lot to me like the Xander Bogaerts deal.
Joe Musgrove.
It looks a lot to exactly. I mean, there's a series of deals, and that's why it's a risk-reward business. You wanted him for the now. I go back to the tax analogy. What happens when you are at the end of this decade? Manny's old, and Xander's old, and Darvish is old, and Musgrove is old. And the win now that you needed to get done in 2024 and 2025 and 2026 never happened.
Didn't happen.
I mean, that's the issue that they've kind of run into. And this is what the national pundits said. It's not sustainable. How can they do this? Maybe they'll be right by the end of the decade.
So since Darvish signed his, 6-year, $108 million contract after the 2022 season, let's see here, 55 starts. He's 20-18 with a 4.41 ERA, and he'll miss all of next season. So 4 years, 55 starts, a 4.41 ERA after signing his 6-year, $108 million contract.
Is any of it, honestly, I would love to listen back to the show when we learned that he signed that deal, what we said. I bet we said, you better get a lot of production from him the first 3 years because you're not going to get it the last 3 years. I guarantee we said that. I bet we said, you better make a World Series in 2023, 24, 25 because Yu Darvish isn't going to help you in 26, 27, or 28. I guarantee we said that 3 years ago. And
he was coming off of a phenomenal 2022 season. He was 16-8 with a 4.6 WAR, John, a 3.10 ERA, 30 starts, 194 innings pitched, and he pitched some really good games in the postseason.
I remember. He was great.
And that's probably the last time we'll see you, Darvish, even close to that effective ever again.
At that level. I completely agree. I mean, I'm sure there's examples. There are guys that have pitched off injury as late as you, Darvish, but to count on these players, and then you bring it to on field what it means for 2026. And listen, they'll have to figure it out internally, and there's trade options and there's free agency. But I'm left looking at 2026, Jim, and I'm like, you got Nick Pivetta. I mean, Joe Musgrove's coming off Tommy John. Do you really think Joe Musgrove is going to look like the pitcher you saw 4 years ago out of Joe Musgrove? Like, are you expecting him to make 31 starts and throw 180 innings? You've got Nick Pivetta. You have question mark Joe Musgrove, and you've got JP Sears and Randy Vasquez and a lot of internal and Matt Waldron. And then you got trade options that'll present themselves, and you've got free agency, but it's not a great position to be in from a starting pitching, situation for the Padres.
You don't have unlimited resources as far as money goes. You've pretty much drained your entire farm system.
Right.
It takes years to build that back up. Preller has shown he can do that, but still, it's not a quick, easy fix. It's going to take time, so you don't really have much to trade away to get pitching back. It's a brutal loss for multiple reasons. It's brutal for your rotation. It's brutal because you're on the hook for 3 years, $46 million for a guy that just had Tommy John at 40 years old. It's brutal because, looking back, you decided to start him over Michael King in a decisive game 3 when everybody knew that this guy's arm was done. It's a triple whammy of like pain if you're a Padres fan. Looking back, the what ifs. Looking forward, the what ifs. Also looking forward, seeing that, this path, it's just got that much harder.
I mean, the path, it's so funny to even talk about a path. I mean, especially when a team in your division has won the last 2 World Series. Like, what
that too,
path even
Dodgers
is there
World Series
as we sit here right now? So, again, a long offseason well underway in San Diego, and they'll go about 2026 without you, Darvish. How do they overcome that? We'll react to it over the course of the next couple of hours. In addition, San Diego State will open its basketball season tonight. Mark Ziegler, who's covered the Aztecs as the beat writer for San Diego State with the UT, he will join us coming up at 3:30. Here until 6 p.m. Aztec pregame will begin then. We'll tell you about an SDFC giveaway on the other side. This is John and Jim, San Diego Sports 760 live on the iHeartRadio app. All right, you can qualify to win SDFC tickets for Sunday night at Snapdragon Stadium, a winner-take-all game in the MLS postseason Western Conference quarterfinals. If you want to qualify to win those tickets, here's what you should do right now. Open the iHeart app, search for San Diego Sports 760, tap the red talkback microphone, and leave us a voice message. All you have to tell us is your name and where you're listening from. By doing that, you are automatically entered for a pair of tickets to see SDFC on Sunday. We'll announce the winner on Friday. Also make 760 your number one preset in the app and on your car radio. That is coming up Sunday night. SDFC Portland winner moves on the decisive Game 3 in the Western Conference quarterfinals.
We'll have SDFC's GM Tyler Heaps on the show on Friday afternoon. Get you ready for Game 3. It's not something that I think SDFC fans wanted to have. But, you know, if you missed the first playoff game at Snapdragon Stadium, what was it, last weekend or?
Not last weekend, but the weekend before.
Weekend before that?
Yep.
You missed that because the atmosphere was incredible there. And you're like, man, I want to go back. And, you know, you may be saying, oh, well, we won't be able to go back until the end of November. Well, you have a chance to go back this upcoming weekend. And so we're also giving away tickets for that as well, like you said.
Yeah.
So
yeah, we're giving away tickets. So
yeah.
Open up the app, search for San Diego Sports 760, click that red microphone icon, tell us your name and where you're listening from. You'll be automatically entered for a chance to win those 2 free tickets. We're reacting to the news. Mark Ziegler, by the way, will join us coming up at 3:30. We'll talk about the Aztecs who open tonight against Long Beach State. We're reacting to the news that Yu Darvish will miss 2026. Padres are on the hook for a $16 million salary. We're still waiting on the manager of the Padres for 2026 as well. And it feels a little bit like the last couple of off seasons where you're not getting the greatest of news, right? It's not like you have all this momentum heading into your off season. You're coming off the disappointment of the Cubs series. You're watching a team in your division win another World Series. You don't have the resources that they have. You have an aging core. And now you got to overcome it all. You know, I think that AJ Preller has proven he's capable of putting a playoff caliber roster together. I would expect him to do that again. I don't think you can't do it just because you don't have Yu Darvish. I mean, you're getting Joe Musgrove back, but there's a difference between contending for a postseason spot and doing what the Dodgers have done the last 2 years. And like I said yesterday, I feel it more today. It feels like there's a big gap between what the Dodgers have accomplished and what the Padres are trying to accomplish this offseason.
John, you mean the Lon Hong Su signing? Isn't it doing?
Is that who it was?
Lon Hong Su?
No.
Of the Chinese Taipei 18 and under national team?
Not really.
You're not excited about that?
Not really, no.
That was a good start to the offseason.
That is the offseason right now.
That is the offseason so far.
Is he going to manage?
Is he going to pitch? Is he going to replace Yu Darvish?
No, I don't think so.
No, he won't replace Yu Darvish. It's a weird start to the offseason, that is for sure.
Mm-hmm.
There is a lot of uncertainty around the team, very little answers, very little reporting on it, and it is leaving fans completely in the dark here about the direction of this franchise. Like we were texting this morning, how does Mike Schilt quit? And in the last 2.5, 3 weeks, we've gotten like one report on the future of Preller and the direction of their manager, their new manager. How?
You're saying how quiet? There's been very little reporting on this for weeks.
No reporting. I haven't seen anything like about, hey, here's an update with the Padres. I mean, one report last week,
yeah,
and that was a report about how they were expected to hire a manager at the end of last week. It's Tuesday.
Mm-hmm.
And unless they're ready to, announce in the next couple hours here on a Tuesday afternoon that they're hiring somebody or a national reporter is going to announce it. I mean, what's going on here? I mean, it's ridiculous.
Yeah, I'm with you. I mean, that's how it feels to me. I mean, the difference between this ownership group, John Sadler, to the one previous, and there are a number of differences, but it does feel like Padres fans, for as good as they've been to this organization, over 3 million fans now for 3 consecutive years at least, we're left in the dark a lot. We've been left in the dark, like this Darvish situation. What's to come on the other side of it? We don't know ownership's plan for the offseason. We don't even know if AJ Preller, forget about the manager. Forget about the manager for a second. We said this yesterday. Are we assured of AJ Preller's future with his organization? Is he guaranteed to be here in 2026? Is he guaranteed to be here beyond 2026?
Who knows?
We have no idea. We have no idea. There's not a lot of reporting on it. We're not hearing directly from the organization. And you may say, well, John and Jim, well, once they announce a manager, Preller will be asked about his future. He'll be asked about you, Darvish. Okay. Yeah, but when is that? Because now we're just left to speculate for hours and days on end, unfortunately.
It's not just us. I mean, what's most important is the fans. The fans are the most important. And they just watched the Dodgers win their second straight World Series. The Padres manager just got up and quit because this was too tough for him. You, Darvish, is, maybe career's over. You're looking for a manager. Fans have no idea about the future of AJ Preller. There's no reporting on it whatsoever. And when there is reporting, it's not accurate reporting. It's like, man, it's not fun at times to be a Padres fan out there because, like you said, you're left in the dark. And we have no idea who the hell John Seidler even is. We have no idea about the future of AJ Preller. We have no idea about who the next manager is. We have no idea about this team going forward as far as, are they going to spend or are they not going to spend? We have no clue. The only thing we know is that, Petco Park's going to host Survivor Series, War Games in, a couple weeks. That's it.
That you probably won't be watching unless you have the $30 ESPN app.
That is true.
All right, let's go to the phones here real quick. Dave wants to weigh in, 877-767-4760. If you're a frustrated Padres fan, if you want to voice your thoughts here this afternoon, we have open phone lines, 877-767-4760. And Dave, we appreciate you calling in. You're back on with John and Jim.
Well, thanks again for the time, guys. Well, look, this was not surprising. It shouldn't have been anyway to anybody with two honest eyes. He started out, Darvish started out the year hurt. He went through the year pretty much hurt, missed half the year. We knew that something serious was wrong. We know that the Padres, like most other baseball organizations, are never going to fess up to the fans. So to be fair to them, I understand that's the trend now. You don't tell anybody what's happening. But, we saw this. And the tragedy to this is that AJ had opportunities to fix the rotation and ran out of time, ran out of money, ran out of everything to fix it because he had so many other holes. So when you get to the playoffs, here's what happens. They had no better choice than to go to hurt Yu Darvish. Bless Yu Darvish's heart for trying. No question about that. But at the end of the day, John, when you talk about, 5 or 6 years ago, we were all fat, dumb, and happy, and we said, to hell with the future. Let's win now. Well, we've got nothing to show for the winning, and the future is here now. So this is where we're at with the San Diego Padres. It's a real mess. They've got so damn many holes, and an organization that clearly, from the management to the ownership down, is absolutely dysfunctional. How do you pretend to hire a manager when you can't even make a decision on your president of baseball operation? It absolutely astounds me. So
Dave, we appreciate you. We will react to that on the other side. I mean, are they still in their window? Are the Padres in a realistic window to win a world championship? Does that still exist with the rotation that they currently have heading into the offseason with 2026 around the bend? Are they in a window?
Doesn't do it for you?
We'll react on the other side. Plus, Mark Ziegler, who covers the Aztecs for the UT. We're getting you ready for San Diego State and Long Beach State. The Aztec opener tonight at 7 p.m. on San Diego Sports 760. This is John and Jim.
This update is brought to you by Mucinex Kickstart. We'll start with Padres news of the day, not the Padres news we were all waiting for, but Yu Darvish announcing that he has had elbow surgery and he will miss the entire 2026 season. And the hope is he returns to pitch in 2027. San Diego FC news of the day. Anders Dreyer was named the MLS newcomer of the year, and the Aztecs, they take on Long Beach State tonight at Viejas Arena. Tip off their season, 7 p.m. tip time. 6 p.m. is when our pregame coverage starts right here on San Diego Sports 760. Woke up feeling like cough, congestion, headache was coming on. Have big plans this weekend. Take Mucinex Kickstart all-in-one and done relief with a morning jolt of instant cooling sensation. Mucinex Kickstart for relief with a kick at your favorite retailer. Use as directed.
I don't know what you just said, but I wasn't listening.
I don't even know what I said either.
By the way, we're reacting to the news that Yu Darvish will miss the 2026 season. It's a little bit of the Mike Clevenger. Like, hey, he's actually going to be here through 2028, just so you guys remember. And he's out in 2026. I honestly, dude, I was at the point where I'm like, when is he announcing his retirement? I get it. Nobody's walking away from $50 million, nor am I. But I'm just like, I watched him pitch in 2025. I was like, there's no way this guy's pitching the next 3 years in the major leagues. He's just not able to pitch in the major leagues. Well, I didn't consider he would have Tommy John rehab for a year plus and then potentially try to give it a go to return.
How many times on this show did we say that dude's arm was cooked?
Since March.
Yeah.
We questioned everything with Darvish all year long.
Yeah. The whole thing from the jump of this season, it just felt like, unfortunately, Yu Darvish, we all love Yu Darvish, but that arm has a lot of miles on it. And we could see, I think the part of the season where I'm like, okay, his arm's done, is the report that came out that he changed his arm slot.
I remember that.
To help relieve tension or pain on his elbow. I'm like, dude, if you're doing that
as a 39-year-old,
your arm's cooked, man. And we all saw it too. He did not pitch well for this team, like at all.
He honestly pitched terribly.
It was probably
awful. To his credit that he was able to get by to the degree in which he got by.
Yeah.
With like a torn ligament in his elbow. I don't even know how he did that.
I also like how that today, instead of just calling it what it is, it's Tommy John surgery. But they're like, he had this UCL and his arm is mobilized. And I'm like, it's Tommy John. Like his UCL gets cooked.
And they did put in the release, the expected recovery time is 12 to 15 months. So you're talking about the winter of 2026. Let's go back to the phones. If you want to weigh in on the direction of the Padres right now, 877-767-4760. Is this Marcos? Marcos, you're on with John and Jim. Thanks for calling in.
Thanks, guys. Hey, let's talk Joe Musgrove. He's still under contract, right?
He is.
Correct.
Okay. So why are we talking you like he's this thing right now? When are we getting Joe back?
Well, hold on. What
do you mean?
What do you mean?
He's still under contract. Well, he's still under contract, and so we're like using this time right now to put you on like the hot seat, like the organization is based off of him right now.
What are you talking about?
What are you talking about?
Like we have so much time left still with Joe. Like, why are we even talking about you, Darvish?
Because
Marcos, you're making no sense right now. What are you talking about?
He's owed $16 million, Marcos.
Yeah, I understand that, but like that's not anyone else's fault, you know. Like,
well, of course,
what are you talking about?
Coach right now.
No, of course it is.
No. What are you guys talking about?
Hold on, leave him here.
They're talking about like putting you on the hot seat, and the kid came back. He did his best. Yeah, he wasn't his best last year, as he was when he came back, and now all of a sudden he's there. We don't even know what's happening with Joe, and we're talking about bullpen, right? When you start talking about our pitchers, you're talking about bullpen.
Wait, okay,
Marcos. So do you put it on the organization? No, he's putting on you, Darvish, that he's hurt. Who do you put it on? No one.
No, I don't put it on you at all. It's not you's fault.
Of course it isn't.
You know, let's still talk about Musgrove's contract before we even put you on the block, dude.
Marcos, with all due respect, that made very little sense. Thank you for calling.
It made no sense.
First of all,
what the hell?
What
does
Joe Musgrove have to do with you, Darvish? And when did we ever? When did anyone say like you, Darvish? This is your fault. Padres signed up to the deal. The first segment we talked about Preller's deal. The $100 million deal was always risky. I honestly, I feel dumber after listening to whatever the hell Marco's saying there. What we're talking, the story of the day is Yu Darvish has elbow surgery. He's out for the year. Why would we talk about
Joe Musgrove?
By the way, Joe Musgrove, you want to talk about Joe Musgrove? It's a big question mark.
Because he's returning off of Tommy John surgery. If you're wondering where Joe Musgrove is, Marcos, if you watch this team and you keep up with the news, you would know that Joe missed last year because of Tommy John surgery, and he's expected to return next season. There's your Joe update for you.
He has not thrown 100 innings in a season since 2022 and didn't pitch last year. And if you expect him to throw 180 innings next year, I've got property I can sell you.
What the hell was that? Yeah. What was that call?
I mean, I think what happens sometimes is that, and I get it, there's people that want to say, like, want to back the organization for the success they've had in the 2020s. And they have had a level of success in the 2020s. But you have to be truthful and honest here that you're on the heels of a disappointing exit again. The team's only getting older. And the Darvish situation is a big-time problem for the organization, a big-time problem.
The first thing I thought about when I saw Yu Darvish tweet out today that his elbow had to get surgery on it was Joe Musgrove.
Was SDFC?
No, it was Joe Musgrove. I'm like, hey, where's Joe at?
By the way, that's never part of it. It's not like if you told me tomorrow, well, Nick Pavetta's out, but they signed the best free agent pitcher. Well, that doesn't make things great. Well, Nick Pavetta's out, but why aren't you talking about the free agent they signed? Well, because Nick Pavetta's out. I mean, he's not. But Yu Darvish is out. That doesn't mean everything's okay because Joe Musgrove's coming back from Tommy John. I don't understand. You still owe Darvish what he's owed.
We're not. By the way, we never blamed Yu Darvish.
No one's just blaming Yu Darvish.
We were just pointing out the obvious that his arm, unfortunately, is cooked. Like, it is what it is, and it sucks because, like I said, we all love Yu Darvish here. He's done some great things in a Padres uniform, but there's no denying that the contract that he signed after the 2022 season has turned out to be an awful contract.
And they've had a number of them. Unlike the Dodgers who have unlimited resources, just put it plainly, if you had $100 in your wallet and you spent $20 on chocolate bars, then you don't have $20 other dollars to go spend on Reese's Pieces. I mean, it's a stupid analogy, but it's like $16 million for a team that last offseason signed Jason Hayward and Connor Joe to $1 million deals. They don't have unlimited resources. The money matters, and they're going to have to overcome it.
Oh, do you think that the Padres? I'll bring Joe Musgrove into this conversation for Marcos.
Like Marcos,
I have no idea what he's talking about. You don't think the Padres could use that $20 million that Joe Musgrove was getting paid this past year for to help the team out?
Why are you bringing up Joe Musgrove last year? They had Yu Darvish last year.
Oh, my bad. Sorry.
Dude, the money that they owed like Eric Hosmer last year, guess what? That's money they couldn't spend on their team. Right? The money that they spent last year on Joe Musgrove is money they couldn't spend on their team.
That's right. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, it's all tied together. You have limited resources, not unlimited.
And when you think about it, everyone's like, oh, yay, the Hosmer money's off the books now.
It's actually less money than what Darvish is going to be owed in 2026, right?
Right. So if you're doing like math and you're just kind of like slotting things here and there, all right, the Hosmer contract is done. They're done paying Eric Hosmer. Well, you just replace that dead money with Yu Darvish's dead money. So and by the way, like you just said, it's more than what they were paying Eric Hosmer.
I already know what's happening. It's either it's a savvy trade for someone that's under control, that makes no money, that's starting pitcher capable, or it's a lot of JP Sears and it's a lot of Matt Waldron and it's a lot of Randy Vasquez. By the way, they've had success internally. Randy Vasquez put together a good year. It's not to say you can't improve pitchers or have success. Someone's going to emerge next year, but I'm talking about winning at the highest level. This isn't about, JP Sears went from a 5 ERA guy to a 4 ERA guy. Like, that's not how you win a World Series.
You know what's crazy too, just like thinking about it? So this organization, like I said, they decided to pitch Yu Darvish in game 3 instead of Michael King. They also decided to pitch Nestor Cortez a bunch of times in the second half when Randy Vasquez was there. And guess who just had arm surgery this past offseason? Oh, Nestor Cortez. They had two dudes that they were pitching that eventually got, elbow surgery or whatever, right? One of them, which we all knew was going to have to eventually get it. The other one was like, wait, Nestor Cortez.
Mm-hmm.
And how many games they miss out from winning the division? Just a couple? It's wild.
I mean, it is kind of wild. And all I know is heading into 2026, like, you're behind the eight ball. Like, I'm sorry. Like, again, it's not to say that I think all of a sudden they're going to be the Rockies for the next 5 years. I'm just saying there is a lot of work to be done to put yourself in a position that you were just in 2025.
They have a core that can compete.
Exactly.
This is not going to turn into a Miami Marlins situation right now or a Pittsburgh Pirates situation. They still have pieces, right?
I agree.
But those pieces have shown and proven that they can't get it done. So until they can prove that they can get it done, the core that is currently here in San Diego, it is what it is. They are a team that can compete, but they have shown repeatedly that they shrink in the biggest moments. And how is that going to change? Be better. Okay. It's not really a strategy to hope. You have to go out and get pieces that actually produce and fit the team. And they've tried that. And to their credit, we thought that they were close in 2024. And this past year, until the injuries to Jason Adam and Ramon Laureano, we felt like this team had a chance as well. And now they have to go out and retool, but it doesn't, these injuries and the money and the uncertainty doesn't mean that they're just going to fall in the tank. They still have a core that can compete.
Yeah, completely agree with that. But it's like some of this, is there an inevitability to this? We'll talk about it on the other side. Like, is there an inevitability to the Machado deal? Is there an inevitability to the Bogarts deal? It's
all the deals, there's an inevitability.
You can't run down time. And I feel like the Padres, to some extent, have tried to do that. Mark Ziegler from the UT will join us at 3:30. We're reacting to the news that Darvish will miss at least all of the 2026 season, undergoing Tommy John surgery. This is John and Jim. All right, again, if you want to qualify to win STFC tickets for Sunday at Snapdragon Stadium, here's how you do it. Just open the app right now, the iHeartRadio app. Find San Diego Sports 760. Tap the red talkback microphone. Couldn't be easier. Leave us a voice message with your name and where you are from. Once you've done that, you are eligible to win 2 free tickets to see STFC Sunday, win or go home. Make sure to make 760 your number one preset on the app and on your car radio as well. Pretty easy. Just open the app.
It's very easy. If you want to go watch SDFC, just go to the talkback mic. It's very simple. Very simple. And make sure you're following us as well. So if you want to go to the decisive winner go home game 3 at Snapdragon Stadium, it's going to be electric there. Like you said, John, just go to the talkback mic on the iHeartRadio app.
All right, we're reacting to this Darvish news. Mark Ziegler is going to join us to talk about the Aztecs at 3:30. By the way, you can listen to Aztecs basketball and football on the iHeartRadio app as well.
But what about Joe Musgrove?
Yeah, I don't even know. I mean, I do know what to say to that because it didn't make any sense. But the question that we posed on the way out of the last segment was, like, is there inevitability? We're asking, like, oh, is the Darvish deal a bad one? Well, it's not a bad one now. It's a bad one then when they signed it. We all knew that. Just like the day they signed Xander Bogaerts, like, years 8, 9, 10, 11 are going to suck. So he better be really good in the first 5 years, and he hasn't been. And same thing with Manny Machado. Like, is he going to be a good player at age 39 and 40? Is he playing third base for you as a 40-year-old when he's making $40 million a year? So, like, Darvish deal was not a good deal. We just told it to you in real time. And unfortunately, that's where you're heading probably with a lot of these deals. These long deals that tie up players into their 40s. This was kind of the Padres' strategy to win now. And unfortunately, they didn't win now.
Yeah, I don't know how much longer this window is going to be, because there was a thought that the reason why they kept King and they kept Cease and they kept Arise last year was this was the final hurrah. Like, this was the 98 Bulls last dance, even though they never won anything. Like, this was
Right.
This was the last real shot for them to go, and that's why they traded Leo DeVries for Mason Miller, and that's why they signed Nick Pivetta, and like, trade away 2 quality starting pitchers for a backup catcher that they turned into a starter. Like, let's just go all in, because this is the final time that we're going to have these pieces on this team, and it's not going to be easy to have these types of pieces on this team in the future with all the commitments that we have for other players, and the fact that everyone else is getting older, and Machado's contract and Xander's contract and you and Joe Musgrove, right? Now going forward, it's like, well, is their window done? They can still compete. There's no question in my mind that they still can compete.
Mm-hmm.
But at what level can they compete at? Can they compete at a championship level, or are they just competing in the, like, hey, let's make the postseason, maybe we'll see what happens level, right?
I think the latter. Of course, there's examples of teams like, hey, let's just make the postseason and see what happens, because you don't know. I don't think Mariners heading into the year where we like, hey, they're a threat to reach the World Series. They might have been a threat to be a playoff team, but once you're in, you don't know what's going to happen. But I'm with you. I don't love the strategy of, well, the Padres are overmatched in the playoffs, and they don't have near the power of the other teams that they're playing, and it's proven that power wins in the postseason. So let's just get in with a weakened roster, and let's just hope that we can somehow navigate our way to a World Series or win one. Like that to me is very wishful, especially with, all goes back to, like, especially with Manny Machado not performing at his best in the postseason, and this past postseason, Fernando Tatis Jr. not performing at his best. So, like, what are you going to do, though? Because you got these long deals. So you don't have a lot of flexibility. You have these long deals. So I'm with you. It's like, you can compete for a playoff spot, but can you do more than that in this current iteration of the Padres?
Yeah, and your top guys, that's what's going to have to lead the way, and they just haven't proven it so far, especially Manny. Xander, blah.
Yeah.
Even though I think he had a fine postseason, albeit it was only 3 games, he actually showed up and competed. I think Jackson Merrill, if he goes through another season fully healthy, he'll look closer to his rookie year than he did last year. Yeah. I have a lot of faith in Jackson Merrill.
Good point.
Fernando, who the hell knows, right? Who the hell knows? After his PED suspension and his shoulder surgery, like, is he ever going to be close to that same offensive player again? The odds are probably very low because we have enough data now to show, like, hey, probably not going to be that guy again. So that's not great for this team. And their pitching isn't that great, guys. You know, like the Dodgers invested $1 billion in their pitching staff and their starting rotation. And look how they won a World Series this year because of their starting rotation, not because of their bullpen. Bullpen, you do need a dominant bullpen. But at the same time, if you have a dominant rotation, just look what the Dodgers did this year in their postseason. They basically said, hey, we're going to win a World Series because of you. We're not going to lose a World Series because we don't pitch you guys damn near every game for as much as we possibly can get out of you.
Yeah, it's almost like it's a really good point because it's like where the Padres have kind of like yin. They're like, hey, let's win this way. Let's win with a strong bullpen. Let's win with low AAVs, long deals, but low AAVs. But it hasn't worked. And I've given AJ Preller credit for trying to do things that other GMs in this city have like nobody's been able to win a World Series. So like you need to do things unconventionally. But even their unconventional approach has landed them in the same spot that they've always landed in, which is like, it's not good enough. So what will it take to be good enough? I wish I had that answer. I really do. I wish I had that answer. I don't know what it's going to take. I don't think it's, well, maybe they need to change the GM. Okay, we still have Manny Machado and Xander Bogaerts and Joe Musgrove. And you're kind of still where you are. So I don't know how you attack the offseason, truthfully. Like, if I could just snap my fingers, if I was in charge and my goal was to be the best team in baseball in 2026, I don't know how realistic that is.
It's none of the moves really feel like, oh, that's the move right there. Because they're not going out and they're not signing big time free agents.
It's not going to be Kyle Schwarber.
Like, I know Shota Imanaga today became a free agent. Is Shota Imanaga an option? I don't know. I just don't know what they're working with this offseason. I don't know what their plans are. I don't know if they are going to go out and spend a bunch of money or not. Are they going to operate closer to how they've operated the last two off seasons, or are they going to operate closer to how they operated when Peter Seidler was in charge? Like, I just don't know. And frankly, you're not winning unless you operate closer to how Peter operated things instead of the latter. Like, you have proven the last 2 years, and credit to AJ for, dumpster diving and being as creative as possible and trading away all your prospects to get to back-to-back postseasons, winning 90-plus games in back-to-back years. But you have nothing to show for it. So how are you going to continue to do that? I don't know how you can, especially in the landscape of baseball now where you have to spend to win.
Is there an answer right in front of our eyes? We'll react to that on the other side. Plus, Mark Ziegler from the UT. Could the Padres actually be better in the rotation without doing anything? We'll discuss on the other side. John and Jim, San Diego Sports 760, live on the iHeartRadio app.
This update's brought to you by Bill Howe Plumbing. Darvish announcing today that he had elbow surgery. He's going to miss the entire 2026 season. He hopes to return to pitch again for the Padres in 2027. SDFC news, Anders Dreyer was named the MLS Newcomer of the Year today, and the Aztecs season tips off tonight at Viejas Arena against Long Beach State. 7 p.m. tip time, 6 p.m. pregame. You can listen to that game and all the coverage right here on San Diego Sports 760. Traffic may be slow, but your drains don't have to be. The experts at Bill Howe have been helping San Diego with their plumbing needs for 45 years. Call 1-800-BILL-HOWE because we know how. License number 488-413.
Another day, still no Padres manager. May want to make a decision soon. Just a thought. The NFL trade deadline is passed. Who's going where and why? And Aztecs basketball tips off tonight from the Mesa. A preview is on the way now from the studios of San Diego Sports 760. Here's John and Jim.
All right, San Diego and Southern California, what's going on? Hour 2, John and Jim. Mark Ziegler will join us coming up. Covers the Aztecs for the UT. He'll join us at 3:30. Also, coming up, let's actually do it in the next 15 minutes. A 4-pack of tickets plus a $50 gift card to Snow Jam. Snow Jam.
Snow Jam.
That's right. Snow Jam. It's coming up this weekend, Del Mar Fairgrounds. From Breeders' Cup to Snow Jam, we've got a 4-pack of tickets plus a $50 gift card to Snow Jam. We'll give those away in the next 10 minutes or so. We'll get back to the Padres in 1 second. Of course, I was watching the Boise State Hawaii Pacific game on the Mountain West app last night. Once someone DM me that like, hey, Boise State's losing at the half. Like, I'll throw it on. Doing dishes, I put it on. Like, Boise will run away, right? Well, they lose to a Division II team last night at home. There's no example of a team losing to a Division II team and making the NCAA tournament since Michigan in 1989 with Steve Fisher and Brian Dutcher.
What quad is it? Is it even a quad? There's no quad.
It's a whole other conversation. But there was a moment in the game, and you later sent it to me because it ended up going viral. But I was watching it live, and Kristen, I was like chuckling, and Kristen's like, "What are you laughing at?" I'm like, "Oh, I'm watching this game. Something funny happened," and that's all I said. There was a moment where a player for Hawaii Pacific, Brent, had like a cramp, or maybe worse. He's like on the floor, like in dire straits. One of his teammates is trying to stretch out his leg. And then a trainer for Boise comes over because Hawaii Pacific, this Division II team that pulled off the upset, didn't have a trainer. And the trainer for Boise, along with the Hawaii Pacific teammate, literally pulled this player.
Dragging him off the floor.
They dragged him off the floor on his backside, on his back, laid out.
Holding his leg,
holding his leg and his arm. They dragged him off the floor. Just dragged him off the floor and play continued.
I watched that video probably 25 times.
I was cracking up last night. Dude.
I was dying.
You got to find it, bro. I'll show it to you, Brian.
And then
it's so funny.
And then as I go into a little bit of a deep dive into this video, at first, probably the first 15 to 20 times I watched it, I didn't realize that the trainer that pulled this kid off the court was the Boise State trainer. And the fact that they had to go over to the Boise bench to like ask their trainer for help. And then because they didn't have any massage guns,
they didn't have massage guns.
They had to ask Boise for some equipment to help them out. I am dying. And then I sent this to you. Obviously, when you go to Boise, when you go to Idaho, what do you think of when you think of Idaho?
Potatoes.
Exactly. So what did Hawaii Pacific do before their big game against Boise State? Of course, they went to a potato bar, and they posted about that on social media. So if you're Boise State, not only losing to Hawaii Pacific is embarrassing, just look at what Hawaii Pacific did before the game. They went to a potato bar and then went out and beat you.
With no trainer,
no
massage gun,
no equipment.
It's like
it's amazing.
College basketball isn't football where typically like you can overcome things. There's a bubble and you can lose games. Honestly, I think they might have ruined their entire season on night one. Now you could always win the Mountain West, but are you really an at-large candidate if you lost to Hawaii Pacific at home? They don't have a trainer.
One of their kids was Jewish and he was wearing his yarmulke during the game.
Yeah, on the floor. Yeah,
guy's getting cooked by a dude wearing a yarmulke,
which I thought was cool.
It was right. I mean, that's awesome. But still, the fact that like we were doing deep dives into Hawaii Pacific. I mean, their logo
campus is like a shopping center.
Their logo looks like a create a team logo off of like NBA 2K.
It's an amazing,
It's a
amazing
shark.
story.
It's a blue shark.
So, which to bring it full circle, and Brent just saw the video, to bring it full circle, don't overlook Long Beach tonight.
I knew that was going to happen.
Don't overlook Long Beach State, led by former Aztec assistant Chris Acker tonight. What do you got, Brent?
Now, I've watched it like 6 times in a row now. They should start doing this in the NFL.
Just drag
That's
him
how
off.
I
Can
said
you
with
imagine
Jaden
like Jaden Daniels? They just
pull
drag
his
him off by his
elbow.
ankles.
Yeah. Just like, hey, come on, dude. We got to get you off the
Yeah,
field.
it's taking too long.
So ridiculous. Okay, so you know how we mentioned that we got the news within the last couple of hours that Darvish will miss 2026 because he's having Tommy John or had Tommy John. Okay. So how are you going to overcome that, right? Here's this guy making a lot of money. He's been a starter in the big leagues for 10 plus years. How are you going to overcome that? Well, what about Mason Miller?
What about him?
Who has been, listen, he has started before, has he not? It was a failed experiment with the A's where you always have that dangling carrot out there that you got this guy that throws 104, has filthy, filthy stuff. What if you stretch him out? Now, is there a risk there? Yes. But if Mason Miller transitioned not from an 8th inning guy to a closer, but from an 8th inning guy to a 5 inning guy and a starter that threw every 5th or 6th day, what does that make your rotation look like next year? If you had Pivetta and you had Musgrove and you had Mason Miller to pair with guys like Randy Vasquez and whomever else maybe you add this offseason.
So Mason Miller in his career has started 6 games. That was in his rookie year.
Okay.
In 2023. Actually, his rookie year was 2024, but he didn't qualify and didn't pitch enough in 2023. But
Gotcha.
in 2023, 10 games pitched, 6 starts, 33 1/3 innings, a 3.78 ERA. And that's it. That's the last time he started in the big leagues. And ever since then, he has been a reliever. I understand maybe in a dire situation, like, hey, we don't have another option here, so we have to be creative and work with what we got. It's like the Chopped analogy. Did you see the show Chopped?
What's it about? Making food?
Yeah, it's on the Food Network, and these contestants are given baskets of random ingredients, and they don't know what's in these baskets, and they have to take whatever's in these baskets and make a meal with it that tastes good.
Okay.
Right. So you could get some really bad ingredients, but you got to figure it out. Okay. So that's the analogy I'm using here is like it's a little bit of a chop situation where AJ Preller's got to look inside of his basket and go, all right, we got these, turnips over here that have to turn into like this great whatever food. And can we do that? And should we do that? Because we have no other option. But I do look at Mason Miller as
a turnip.
No, I don't look at him as a turnip. I look at him as like a guy that his best form of himself is as a closer.
I agree.
That right there alone, I wouldn't want to mess with. I just wouldn't. He is such a weapon as a closer for this team going into the future. Do you want to take him and take away what makes him so special, which is like, I'm going 100% here, max velocity, 104 on the black, to, hey, because I'm a starter now, I got to dial it back to like 98, 99. Is he going to be as effective? Is he going to work out as a starter? Is the workload going to affect his arm? There's all those questions there that I don't know if I would do it.
I agree. It's not our decision. It's not our careers on the line by making Mason Miller a starter and having something happen. But remember May 2nd, 2023 at the Oakland Coliseum? I'm sure you do. May 2nd, 2023.
Yeah, it was good.
Against Seattle when he went 7 hitless innings. So like that's as a rookie in his second career appearance.
Okay.
Excuse me, his third.
Okay.
But like, what's possible. It's not like impossible, because he's done it before. So it's not like so outside the box. It's been rumored since they acquired him. Will he one day start for this franchise? He was asked about it the day he was acquired. I remember it in the clubhouse. He said, well, that's a conversation for another day, and that's probably above my pay grade or something along those lines. I'm just saying it's at least possible. I'm not saying it's likely, but it's got to be considered as something that's possible. I remember a day when we said Fernando Tatis Jr. in the outfield. Why?
I
yeah,
actually was kind of on board with it.
But you remember a day when it was discussed and it was unconventional and it was outside the box.
It was unconventional, but it also made sense because all Fernando Tatis Jr. did
was get hurt.
And to make sure that you get this guy in a position where he's not always getting hurt, the best place for him, and probably the place where he'll probably excel the most because of his athleticism, is in the outfield. And by the way, Fernando, another Gold Glove, probably on his way to another Platinum Glove, which is awesome for, his defense. The offense is what the problem is with him.
Right. I mean, I guess the point is nobody knew exactly what would happen when they moved Tatis. There were people that questioned whether it made sense or not. Nobody knew he'd be a Platinum Glove winner. Nobody knew if he'd stay healthy or not. Nobody knew any of that. So it's like with Mason Miller, at least there's some track record, and like desperate times call for desperate measures. Maybe not. You gave up a legitimate prospect. We know that in Leo DeVries. Did you want to do it for a closer or do you want to do it for a starter? What makes it make more sense? Where's the most value? I know where the most value is. It's in starting pitching. It's not in closing.
If they turned Mason Miller into a starter, I would be a little worried about that just because of his arm. Like he's such a violent pitcher, not his delivery, but just like his stuff, his slider, it's amazing. His fastball, amazing. He's going to have to learn more pitches as a starter. I mean, unless he can figure out a way to
two pitches through 7 innings.
Yeah. I mean, it's happened, but if you're going to say right now, guys will make 30 starts and go from what's the most innings pitched in his entire career? 65? Go from 65 to
200.
Yeah.
No, I mean,
I'm worried. I just be worried. That's all.
I'd be worried too. No, I agree. I guess you're right. And everyone would say, I told you so if he blows out his arm. But can't you blow out your arm in a bullpen?
You can blow your arm
at any point. Every pitcher's one pitch away from something happening, unfortunately, with their arm.
Yeah. I would get it, but also at the same time, I would be worried about the future of Mason Miller and his arm. Because right now, the track record with his team ain't great with pitchers. It's just not. I mean, how many pitchers on this team has gotten Tommy John surgery in the last 6 years? A lot.
Right.
So I would just be worried. That's all.
Oh, I 100% would be worried, but I also wonder, like, if you're moving him to your bullpen and your rotation is going to be weaker than it's been in the last couple of years,
it's not going to make him as effective.
Yeah, like
he's not going to be used enough.
Exactly. That's what I'm wondering as well. But I'll tell you this: I think there'll be chatter on it. It doesn't mean they're going to do anything, but I do think there'll be chatter on it heading into spring training 2026. All right, call right now. Caller 7. You've got a free 4-pack of tickets plus a $50 gift card to Snow Jam. That's going on this weekend at the Del Mar Fairgrounds. Call right now if you want that free 4-pack of tickets and a $50 gift card. 877-767-4760. Here's what you get with admission: entrance to all 3 days of the expo, free and deeply discounted lift tickets to SoCal resorts at Big Bear and more. And you get gigantic selection of preseason deals on brand new brand name equipment and clothing from all the top manufacturers. So you can save hundreds just by attending Snow Jam. Go to snowjamshow.com for event info and special deals on admission. Call right now if you want that free 4-pack plus the $50 gift card. 877-767-4760. More on you, Darvish, missing the 2026 season. And Mark Ziegler from the UT on the Aztecs will join us at 3:30 on John and Jim. All right, hey guys, it is Schaefer again. There is no better time than now to get down to your local Toyota dealer. They do have new vehicles arriving each and every day, including their most popular cars, trucks, and SUVs. So whatever kind of vehicle you're looking for, they've got it for you. You can hurry into your Toyota dealer today. And they've got so much going on right now in terms of getting a new Toyota truck. They have the largest inventory of Tacomas and Tundras ready to roll. The Tacoma is known for its legendary toughness, off-road capability, and everyday efficiency, perfect for weekend adventures or just tackling your to-do list. And the Tundra brings serious power, impressive towing capacity, and bold design, plus the latest tech and comfort features. So whether you need a truck that's built for the trails or built for work or built for your family's next adventure, Toyota has you covered right now. Again, new vehicles arriving daily, whether it's cars, trucks, or SUVs. We make it easy. See your Toyota dealer today. All right, John and Jim, Mark Ziegler from the UT will join us at 3:30. Listen to this. After our conversation with Mark, we'll give away more Aztec tickets for Sunday's game at Viejas Arena. Your mic is not on.
So many tickets.
Aztecs, Idaho State. Now, they're not Boise State, but they're Idaho State. Aztecs, Idaho State, Sunday afternoon. Viejas Arena will give away tickets to that. Coming up, Mark Ziegler will join us at 3:30. We have a developing story from Brian McTaggart, who covers the Astros and has since 2004, Jim, and since 2009 with MLB.com.
Wow.
So long tenured Astros writer and reporter. Source, the Astros are targeting Victor Rodriguez to join the major league staff as hitting coach. Listen to this. Rodriguez served the last 2 seasons as the Padres hitting coach.
Oh.
And of course, 2 years ago was regarded as a pretty good hitting coach based on the success the Padres had. And then this past year, not so much.
Everybody loved Victor Rodriguez in 2024, and everybody hated Victor Rodriguez in 2025.
So what's going to happen with the Astros potentially when he joins them as their next hitting coach, if that is in fact where they're going?
Well, I don't know, but maybe they'll bunt a lot, even though I do think that was more of a Mike Schilt thing than a Vic Rodriguez thing.
Right. That's not necessarily a Minute Maid American League Park thing.
No.
I don't even know. How can you have the same hitting coach for 2 years and relatively the same team and be like, he gets credit 1 year and he gets blamed the next? I mean, I get it because that's what we do, but does it make sense?
As I said, if they moved off of Victor Rodriguez, I'm not going to argue it. I'm not going to sit here and be like, I can't believe they moved off Vic Rodriguez. Like, it is what it is. Again, someone had to pay for this god awful offensive performance from this team this past season, even though it kind of feels like Mike Schilt was the one that paid for it, as he I mean, whatever. But if it's Victor Rodriguez leaving too, so be it. I mean, you would think that whoever is hired by the Padres, if they ever hire a freaking manager, they're going to want their own staff, right?
Yeah, there's going to be so much turnover on the staff.
I think the only person that Preller would fight for to stay is Ruben Niebla,
who is under contract.
He is under contract.
So they're paying him either way.
Yeah, and if Victor Rodriguez, I don't know if he was under contract, but if someone is, they have to be given permission to go interview elsewhere. I don't know the contract situation with everybody in that coaching staff, but I do know Ruben Niebla is here, at least under contract with this team.
Here's what we do know. The coaching staff, regardless, will have massive turnover.
Mm-hmm.
Even if it's like Ruben Niebla, because now you've potentially lost your hitting coach. Now you've lost your pitching coach in Niebla plus your manager. I mean, there'll be massive turnover. And if it's not Niebla, to your point, it'll be a whole new coaching staff, which I'm not concerned about at all.
Mm-hmm.
That's just the business of baseball. The Victor Rodriguez thing, again, I think we've said this before. These positions, these hitting coaches, pitching coaches, and even managers, they get too much credit when it's good. They get too much blame when it's bad. It's somewhere in the middle. I don't put the lack of success with Slug on Victor Rodriguez as much as I put it on Fernando Tatis Jr. I just cannot do that.
I put it on the players. I also put it on the organization's philosophy with hitting.
Sure.
I mean, look what the Blue Jays were able to accomplish this year compared to what they were last year. Complete overhaul offensively, like offensive, mindset from this season compared to last season. And they were 2 outs away from winning a World Series,
Sure,
mainly because of their offense.
that's a good point.
So, things can change quickly for a team from year to year offensively. It's just, can those players adapt and incorporate those, analytics and everything that goes into increasing bat speed and launch angle and an approach at the plate? Like, can they incorporate that, and can they put that to use and have this offense be a much better offense next year than it was this past season?
It's fascinating to see what's going to play out here. Like, are you going to hire a manager that leans into squeezing the most out of Machado, Bogarts, Tatis, like Albert Pujols? That's at least what you're led to believe. Pujols might get more out of Fernando Tatis Jr., for example. Or are you just going to go find a manager that continues down the path that you're already on, the success that Mike Schilt had the last 2 years? I just find it interesting. Like, where do they turn? Bless you. And what does it even mean? I mean, again, are they a manager away? Are they having watched this postseason, do you feel like they're a manager away or a hitting coach away from being in that World Series conversation? Maybe, it's a possibility, but I think they're more a Fernando Tatis Jr. MVP-like season away than they are a manager away.
Right.
That's what I think.
Players staying healthy, producing, hitting bombs. Like,
yeah,
that is what is going to help more than who their hitting coach is or the manager is. Even though I do think the manager does matter, even though some people think a manager in baseball means absolutely nothing.
No, I think it matters.
I think it matters. Not to the extent as it used to, but it still matters. And if they go out and they hire Ryan Flaherty for the job,
mm-hmm.
I'm sorry, Ryan Flaherty's selling 0 tickets for this team. No, they don't need help with selling tickets, but
right.
My point is, Ryan Flaherty, good luck. Okay. It just kind of feels like a typical AJ Preller type of hire if that were to be the case.
It's going to be interesting. We'll see if we get resolution at some point in the next day or so on the Padres managerial search. We'll switch gears. Aztecs are playing tonight at Viejas Arena coming up at 7 p.m. A game you can hear right here on San Diego Sports 760 with pregame coverage beginning at 6 p.m. Mark Ziegler, who covers the Aztecs for the UT, joins us on the other side. Then we'll give away tickets for Sunday's game at Viejas against Idaho State. We'll do that in the next 15 minutes or so. Stay with us on John and Jim.
All right, this update is brought to you by Robert Half. We'll start with Padres news of the day. Darvish announcing earlier this afternoon that he had elbow surgery. He's going to miss the entire 2026 season. He hopes to return to pitch again for the Padres in 2027. STFC news of the day. Anders Dreyer was named the MLS newcomer of the year. And the Aztecs take on Long Beach State tonight at Viejas Arena. 7 p.m. tip time. 6 p.m. is when our pregame coverage starts right here on San Diego Sports 760. At Robert Half, they found that 67% of companies want to increase contract talent. That's why their recruiters' expertise and award-winning AI work quickly to find these skilled candidates for you. At Robert Half, they know talent. Visit roberthalf.com/talent today.
All right, we have Aztec tickets for Sunday. We're going to give away in about 10 or 15 minutes after our conversation right now with Mark Ziegler, who covers the beat for San Diego State men's basketball for the Union Tribune. He's back with us on John and Jim. Mark, always appreciate it. Looking forward to the season getting underway. There was something in your article you wrote last night that surprised me about Reese Dixon Waters, because he spoke with the media Monday, and then you wrote yesterday, I have it here, that he's essentially day-to-day after missing several practices with an illness, and he was only partially in practice on Monday, and he's a game-time decision. So do we have any update there? Reese Dixon Waters has been dealing with a health issue heading into tonight?
Yeah, Brian Dutch is really big on you've got to practice if you're going to start, and usually play unless there's certain situations, like obviously with AG a few years ago, where he doesn't want you to practice. Right. He doesn't want your injury to get worse and just allows you to play. But he's going to have to make a little bit of a decision based on how he's feeling and what he feels is fair based on the practices that he's missed. I think he'll play. That's my sense. But he looked okay in practice, but he didn't go live yesterday. But does he start or come off the bench? I don't know. And so that throws a little bit of a wrench. And, obviously you're going to have Miles Bird coming back into the starting lineup. He did not start either of the games, didn't play the second exhibition at all, and didn't start the first one. So he'll be back in the starting lineup. So it's going to be a different team on the floor than we saw in the exhibition. So anything new, there's sometimes a little break-in period. So we'll see how they adjust to all those changes.
For Aztecs fans, what if you're looking at Long Beach State as like, a team that could come in here and maybe upset the Aztecs? What are some things that you think Long Beach State would need to do tonight to do that? Or do you think that's not even going to, remotely happen?
Well, this team shouldn't lose to a team like Long Beach State. They've had that much talent, that much depth. I'm not sure there's a player on Long Beach State's roster that could make the Aztecs 13 scholarship roster. But that said, you've got a coach who has a lot of familiarity, knows kind of the weaknesses of the program and the target points and how to put a game plan together, having worked here for 5 years. It's another one of those Big West teams that come in here with a little bit of chip on their shoulder. A lot of those guys probably wanted to play at San Diego State. They know about San Diego State. It isn't a lot of travel for them. They're in the same time zone, and they're going to take their best shot. If you remember UC Irvine the last few years coming into Viejas Arena, both those games went down to buzzer beaters, both by the same guy, as a matter of fact, Michael Parrish. And so it's a little bit of a dangerous game. I tend to think that the bye games against schools that are from out of the area are a little bit easier because they don't know San Diego State. They don't have a chip on their shoulder. They have to travel. And I think they step into Viejas Arena and get overwhelmed. I'm not sure these guys will. I think they'll actually be looking forward to it. So a little bit trickier game than maybe some of the other ones on the non-conference schedule at home, at least.
Mark Ziegler covers the Aztecs for the UT. He's back with us on John and Jim. So you and I both saw the result. I actually threw it on the Mount West Network. It was utterly shocking, but it is college athletics. And Division II Hawaii Pacific beats Boise State, one of the better programs in the league over the last half decade. I guess twofold. What's the impact on Boise State losing a game like that? It's so rare to see a result like that. And what's the impact, or at least the perception impact, on the Mountain West?
Well, a lot of those games, are exhibitions, and so they don't count and don't have any impact. Yep. But this was an actual opener and counted. It will not hurt them in the metrics because the metrics don't consider Division II, and it's one of the reasons teams like San Diego State play Division II teams, because they don't want to play a lower level Division I team and get pulled down in the metrics. if they don't, beat them by 30. And so they'll play the E2 team knowing they'll have zero impact. But in terms of the realistic impact, it will be an impact, because when those team sheets go to the NCAA selection committee, that game will be on there. They will see a loss to a Division II team. It won't be reflected in the metrics they're looking at, but they will see that loss and they will consider it. And so that is going to have an impact. And, people would say, well, look, if they win the rest of their non-conference games, no one will remember that. But if you're losing to Hawaii Pacific at home in your opener, you probably have bigger issues, and that might be a portent of more losses to come. So I think that's the bigger concern, is that, maybe this team isn't as good as we thought.
Back to the Aztecs tonight. What's your guess on what the starting lineup will look like tonight?
Well, it depends if Reese Dixon Waters starts or not. I think obviously Miles Bergwood back in there. Taj DeGorville, I think, has won the right to start at the point. And Jeremiah Oden will start. And then I think it's going to be a toss-up between Miles Heide and Farrell Compton at the 5 spot. I think both have made a pretty good case for that spot. And Brian Dutcher has admitted as much and just said, this one's really too close to call, and I'll probably rotate them through the season. Who gets to start tonight? Maybe it's Miles Heide, because it's his turn. I mean, he started the first game and first exhibition, and Farrell started the second. So maybe they go back to Miles, or maybe, I don't know. They're different type of players. Miles has been rebounding like a maniac. He's been playing good defense. He had some rim protection, but he's not much of a scorer. And Farrell showed an ability to score, not just with dunking, but he hit a mid-range jumper. His free throws looked like a little bit improved, and he scored considerably more points than Miles did in the first 2 exhibitions, but just didn't rebound as well. So it's kind of what you want. But you can make an argument that Farrell brings more energy because of the way he plays, and that's what you want off the bench. You want energy guys. And so there's a value to having that energy coming off the bench. But I could see him go either way, and that's going to be the thing. If Reese doesn't start, that's a big question, who starts in his place. You could put B.J. Davis in there, who started 31 games last year. You could put Sean Newman and move him to the point, and then move Taj over to a 2 guard. So I could see either of those scenarios if they decide not to go with Reese.
Mark Ziegler with us right now, covers the Aztecs for the UT. You kind of mentioned the depth and what Brian Dutcher is dealing with the starting lineup. I think sometimes people would say, well, this might be a hard year for a head coach because maybe they don't have depth. Like maybe last year was hard for Brian Dutcher because he had a younger team, but he still navigated it and got the team to the NCAA tournament. But could you make the argument that this is even a harder job because you got to keep everyone connected? There's only one basketball, 5 players in 40 minutes. How challenging will that be once they get Magoon back and they have these 10, 11, 12 possible contributors to keep winning and keep everyone content and happy along the way?
Yeah, I mean, I think you really hit on it. That's going to be the issue this season. They have too much talent and too many players, and Brian Dutcher's conscious of that. And it's the reason why he usually doesn't use his 13th scholarship. It's the reason why he always likes to maybe have a guy redshirt, maybe have a couple guys who know they're not going to play. And so he has just kind of 10 bodies that he can focus on. And I think everybody's happier and mentally they're healthier that way. But that's not going to be the case this season. And, he's spoken numerous times, he's dropped little hints like just talking about Miles Heide and Farrell Compton. He said, look, they're both going to have to be mentally tough enough to handle coming off the bench as well as starting. And it probably will be both all season long. And, I think they're mature enough to deal with that. And that's going to be the issue this year. You're going to have a guy like B.J. Davis who started 31 games. And, when you have Miles Bird and Reese Dixon Waters, both veteran players, both preseason all-conference players, it's hard to imagine those guys not starting if they're healthy. And that means B.J. Davis isn't. Now, how's he going to handle that? And you have to remember, these guys are 18 to 22-year-old kids. This is their first big-time basketball experience in front of crowds, getting paid. And professionals are different. Guys get to the NBA and they understand it's all about the role. What's my role? Am I a starter? Am I a bench guy? Am I an energy guy? And I play my role, and that's what I'm paid for. It's different in college. Everyone wants to start. Everyone's trying to get to the NBA. Everyone is concerned about themselves because they can transfer and putting up numbers. And so you have all those other factors that make it different than a truly professional environment, which this is on a financial level, but not yet maybe on a mental maturity level. So that, like you said, that's going to be the biggest thing. He's an expert at it. He's done it. And, there are a few people in the country, if anybody, who's better at it, but it doesn't mean it's not going to be a challenge.
Do you expect anybody on this roster to redshirt this upcoming year?
I could see one or two guys redshirting for that very reason. Now, who it's going to be, I don't know. And the thing about it is, even if somebody does, if we look at a guy who doesn't play and he said, yeah, our plan is to redshirt him. The question is, well, how long? Is it going to be for the whole season? I mean, you're one injury away from all of a sudden just taking a guy off a red shirt and throwing him in because you have that talent. This isn't a developmental situation where you're redshirting guys because they need to develop and you don't think they're quite ready. And or a guy like Jalen McDaniels is a perfect example. They wanted to have him lift 4 days a week. And they didn't think that was fair to do that while he was trying to prepare and playing games. They could make him more injury prone, and he could prepare himself for the next season just by taking that season off. There isn't a case of that. Even a guy like Tay Simmons, he's got a college ready body. You don't need to do that. And so, I could see them redshirting a guy just to sort of pair the numbers a little bit and make a cleaner rotation. But if someone gets hurt, boom, that guy's off the red shirt and is playing.
Mark, before you go real quick on Magoon, I know Brian Dutcher jokes about the idea that he could be back Sunday potentially against Idaho State. Is that at all realistic, or would you expect him to be back in uniform for that third game potentially, which is about a couple of weeks away now?
Yeah, I think the third game's a better target. I mean, look, if he gets clearance on Thursday, and everything's pointing to that he will. His numbers have been really good. They've been really working him hard physically at practice at the opposite end of the court, running stairs, bands, sprints, all these things. And then they test his numbers and his strength numbers, and his repaired knee is pretty much the same as his other knee. So those numbers I think are going to impress the doctor, and I think he'll probably get the clearance. The problem is getting game feel back. And Brian Dutcher is really big on not trying to force and rush things. He's got that patience about him because he's an older coach. He's not paranoid. He sees the big picture. And I would highly doubt that he would play the Sunday game, maybe for a few minutes if he really performs well in practice and looks like he could do it. If they're ahead, they throw him out there for 5 or 10 minutes. But I think the real target for him look, the big picture is they want him ready to play against Michigan on November 24th. They have one game before that, and that's against Troy on the 18th. And I think that would give him, almost 2 weeks of practice, a week and a half of practice. And I think that's the game we'll see him in.
Mark, appreciate the perspective and the insight. And for our listeners, of course, you can find all of his work in the Union Tribune as the Aztecs get underway tonight against Long Beach State. Mark, I'll see you later on tonight. Thanks for doing it.
Yeah, my pleasure. See you later.
All right, call right now. Speaking of Sunday's game against Idaho State, if you want 2 free tickets, caller 7, you've got them. 877-767-4760. Rare day game at Viejas Arena, 2 p.m. You can hear it right here on San Diego Sports 760. Caller 7, you have 2 free tickets to Sunday's game. Call 877-767-4760. The wrap coming up at 4 p.m. We're reacting to the Darvish news. It's John and Jim. All right, hey guys, it is John and Jim again for the all-new Hamul Casino Resort, the Players Place. We've been telling you for months now. The brand new Hamul Spa and the hotel are now open. It's the next level of luxury. You can treat yourself to a stunning new stay. They have rooftop relaxation, indulgent spa treatments, all the thrills of Hamul Casino Resort now all in one unforgettable destination.
Yeah, you can savor San Diego's ultimate endless dining experience at Hamul 23. From their world-famous lobster brunch served every morning to the luxurious VIP endless dining experience each evening, indulge in chef-curated specialties, fresh seafood prime cuts, and decadent desserts, all with stunning panoramic views.
Make sure to check out that spa, unwind in style, experience pure relaxation with indulgent treatments, serene spaces, and a retreat designed to refresh your body and mind. Only at Hamul Casino Resort. You can learn more and book a treatment today at hamulcasino.com/spa at the all-new Hamul Casino Resort, the Players Place. All right, the wrap is coming up. We're reacting to the news that Darvish will miss the 2026 season. Kind of missed the 2025 season. If you look, I mean, the numbers were not good. How many innings was it? Let me. Can I guess? Because I'm. You look. Let me guess. Okay, you look.
All right.
Here, I think we know. My guess is I think we've said this. Is this high? Did he make 15 starts this year?
Correct.
Okay, that sounds very high to me. I'm assuming I have it here, but I'm not looking because I just gone through and I said, let me guess.
Mm-hmm.
What did he average in those 15 starts? There's no way he averaged 5 innings. So I'll say 70 innings.
72 innings.
You said his ERA earlier. It actually wasn't as horrific as I thought. What'd you say? 4.7, 4.8?
This year?
Yeah.
5.38.
Oh, that's terrible.
I was talking about his last 3 years since him signing that contract for 2022.
How many home runs in those 72 innings? My guess would be 11.
Home runs?
Yeah.
14.
14 in 72 innings.
Yeah.
Or every 3 or 4 innings.
He allowed 12 last year and 81 2/3.
Anyway, the point is the point that, you won't have him in 2026. You didn't really have him in 2024, 2025 in terms of impactful.
He was not effective. He wasn't impactful. It was a lost year for Darvish. I mean, look, you had to be blind to not see this coming. Really.
Exactly.
From the start, or not the start, but I guess the end of spring training for when he got shut down. And then when he goes and has his rehab start, and then immediately after his rehab start, he gets shut down again. And then he makes like 5 simulated starts. And then they wait another week. And then he comes back. And then he changes his arm slot.
Yeah.
And then he's giving up home runs left and right. And he's got a 5.38 ERA. If you didn't think that his arm was completely cooked, you weren't watching. Because unfortunately it was. And to his credit, he gutted it through. And we talked about this. We're like, maybe they're doing this to save Darvish because they know that they have a certain amount of bullets left in the tank and they're just waiting to deploy at the right time. And the right time would be at the end of the year in the postseason. Unfortunately, he was cooked. His arm was. And there wasn't any like magical Darvish run left in his arm for this year. And getting Tommy John today, or at least the last couple of weeks or whatever it was, not really surprised at all.
Yeah, you make really good points that like this was right in front of us. I mean, if you've been listening to John and Jim over the last half year, we must have referenced Darvish's health dozens of times throughout the course of the 2025 season. How many times do we say it doesn't feel right?
By the way, also, just go back and listen to Mike Schilt talking about Darvish. They were acting like this guy was like doing like heroic.
Like, man, if you only knew what you was doing,
it's like,
to
oh
put himself in
man,
position. But that
so
also
crazy.
Kind of told you that it wasn't right. And now, is there a world where he has Tommy John and returns to some type of form from like 2022? That's a little wishful.
He's not 28. He's 38. And when he returns, he'll be 40.
Yep.
So I don't know. Maybe. I mean, Darvish, he is a guy that has a million different pitches. He doesn't rely on just, one pitch. And maybe he does return and he does give this team some quality innings and starts when he comes back. But to expect that out of Darvish, that might be wishful thinking.
Well, what about this idea that, hey, this is a prideful guy. He doesn't want to go out like he went out.
And I get it. I understand. I probably
I
would
do
the same
get
way.
that as well. I'm a little concerned that if you don't want to go out in the manner in which you went out, which I completely understand, are you going to go out in a better way in 2027 or 2028? Maybe healthier. Healthier.
Like, hey, at least I know that I went out there. My arm feels good. I can end this thing on a good note. And I totally get that. I am not criticizing Darvish at all for, wanting to come back and wanting to pitch again, even though he would be 40 years old, right? Coming off of his second Tommy John surgery in his career. Like, I don't blame him at all. Like, hey man, you're owed $46 million, bro. Leaving that on the table. If you retired, I would probably tell Darvish, what are you thinking? It's just an unfortunate thing for the team that, you wants to return because now you're on the hook for that money. And they gave him the contract, right? So they got to live with it and they got to deal with it.
Do you know that in his career between the U.S. and Japan, he has thrown 3,086 innings?
Yeah, that arm has a lot of tread on it.
To put that in perspective, Max Scherzer has thrown fewer innings. Think about that.
About
Max
Kershaw.
Scherzer, maybe Kershaw's more. But and here's another one to put in perspective. Blake Snell is going to turn 33 in a month, and he's thrown 1,100 career innings. Darvish has 2,000 more innings than Blake Snell. As in, you can't beat Father Time. It's just the point. You can't throw 4,000 innings. You cannot do it today. It's not possible. And he reached 3,000. And I don't think there's some. I saw a little bit of this idea. He doesn't want to go out like this. I get it. But you don't always get what you want. Like if you think you're going out a winner as a 42-year-old off Tommy John with 3,500 innings on your arm, okay, I hope we have the top-rated sports show in America. It's just certain things you're not destined to necessarily fulfill.
And the organization can't go to Darvish and be like, hey, do you want to retire? Like, it's up to Darvish. Darvish,
of course.
This is all Darvish's decision. And I'm sure the organization, if you were to give them truth serum, would probably look at it like it would be better for the team.
Yep.
But that ain't happening. And, Darvish has the right, as he should. Yep. He earned that money. He got that contract. He signed on the dotted line. He's going to get paid.
Yep.
Whether you like it or not. And I could tell you, if I'm Darvish, bro, I'm not retiring. I'm trying to return, and I want to get paid. And while I'm rehabbing next year, getting $16 million, that's going to be good for me.
Yeah, maybe a little less tweets about Yoshinobu Yamamoto and a little more pitching.
Yeah, and literally driving every single Japanese-born superstar player
away from
San Diego. But other than that, like we're good.
Darvish is.
I'm joking.
He's done what's been asked. You can't control your health. He'll be remembered fondly, I think, in San Diego. And part of it is just, again, when you sign a veteran pitcher to a 7-year deal, you are asking for trouble. When you sign a young pitcher to a 7-year deal, you are asking for trouble. And they signed a veteran pitcher.
And we can talk about it on the other side. We're saying that, but we're also saying the Padres need to go and sign Michael King, are we not?
Not to a 7-year deal or not? No.
Well, there are some numbers that Baseball America has put out there as far as what they predict free agent will get in the offseason. The Michael King number is interesting.
All right, let's discuss that on the other side, plus the wrap. Plus, we've got another giveaway for you as well in the 4 o'clock hour that we'll tell you about. We're here until 6 p.m. Aztecs pregame begins then. The season opener for San Diego State men's basketball tonight at 7 p.m. This is John and Jim.
This update's brought to you by Robert Half. Darvish today on social media announcing that he had elbow surgery. He's going to be out for the 2026 season. He says he hopes to return to pitch again for the Padres in 2027. STFC news of the day. Anders Dreyer was named the MLS newcomer of the year. And the Aztecs take on Long Beach State tonight at Viejas Arena. 7 p.m. tip time. 6 p.m. is when our pregame coverage starts right here on San Diego Sports 760. At Robert Half, they found that 67% of companies want to increase contract talent. That's why their recruiters' expertise and award-winning AI work quickly to find the skilled candidates you want. Robert Half, they know talent. Visit roberthalf.com/talent today.
Another day, still no Padres manager. May want to make a decision soon. Just a thought. The NFL trade deadline is passed. Who's going where and why? And Aztecs basketball tips off tonight from the Mesa. A preview is on the way now from the studios of San Diego Sports 760. Here's John and Jim.
All right, San Diego and Southern California, what's going on? This is hour 3 of John and Jim. We do have another giveaway for you this hour. We'll give away Bryan Adams tickets coming up. Viejas Arena, November 16th. Roll with the Punches Tour. We'll give those away coming up later this hour. Now, yesterday we had a short show. Today I have a short show. I will be leaving early, Jim.
What?
Because I'm calling the Aztecs game tonight.
That's fine, John. Ditch the show.
So I will be leaving.
That's okay.
You're fine with it.
Totally.
You're fine. So I'll be leaving, and I'll be down at Viejas Arena, and then pregame coverage begins at 6.
Yeah, you have a long night. You have a long week.
I have a long life.
You have a long everything. It's all good, bro. Pause. What? Just it's fine. We're good.
Okay. All right. If you missed Mark Ziegler, you'll hear our conversation with Mark coming up again at 5:30. All right. Tell me about this Michael King deal that you were referencing a few minutes ago.
Okay, so let me just pull this up here.
Mm-hmm.
Baseball America, the top 25 free agents, what they did was they predicted their contracts for the upcoming free agency period, which starts on Thursday, by the way.
I'm ready.
So Kyle Tucker, 11 years, $360 million.
Oh, 11 years. Okay, yeah. Wow.
Bo Bichette, 8 years, $240 million. Framber Valdez, 7 years, $220 million. Pete Alonso, 7 years, $175 million. Those are the top 5 free agents on the open market.
You haven't mentioned Michael King or Dylan Cease.
Well, I'm going to mention Dylan Cease right now. They predict Dylan Cease will demand a 5-year, $160 million contract.
I'm good. That's 32 a year. I'm good.
And you're asking, where's Michael King on the list?
Where's Michael King? Can I predict? Because I have no idea.
Predict away.
5. Don't tell. My eyes are closed. That was 5/160. 5/125.
4 for 110.
It was close. That's 27.5 per year.
Would you do that?
4 for 110. He's 31 years old.
Yeah.
He's coming off an injury riddled year, although it had to do with sleeping, not his arm. 4 for 110.
Yes, John.
Would you do that? It's more than Musgrove. You kind of got burned by the Musgrove deal. It's not a ton of years.
I mean, we're literally talking all day. It's not a good idea to give pitchers all this money.
No, we're saying it's not a good idea to give pitchers all this, that many years.
Okay, 4 years. Okay.
Because if the Darvish deal is 4 years, it would end in 2026.
Mm-hmm. Would you rather do Michael King for 4 years, 110 million, or like Zach Gallen 2 years for 45?
Yeah, probably like the Zach Gallen 2 for 45.
Because that's what they're predicting for Zach Gallen. Jack Flaherty 3 for 72.
Yeah, probably the shorter deal, truthfully.
Ranger Suarez 3 for 75.
Yeah, probably the shorter deal.
Brandon Woodruff 1 for 27.
And my guess is AJ Preller prefers the shorter deal.
Probably.
That'd be my guess.
So, yeah, I mean, if you could guarantee me right now Michael King is healthy for those 4 years and effective,
sure,
then obviously it's a no-brainer.
Sure.
but I have no idea. And this team's got burned too many times in recent memory with giving contract to starting pitchers, long-term contracts with $100+ million deals. The Nick Pivetta deal is really a 2-year contract. Because he'll probably, if he pitches well for this team again next year, he'll probably opt out to get a big payday.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I don't love the 4 years. I'm with you. It's probably one too many years. Like, I think at some point, if you really want a frontline guy, you're not going to get him on a 1-year deal. So you're going to have to give multiple years, which is what they've done previously. And you're right. Some of it has backfired.
You know what's crazy is Baseball America is predicting that Trent Grisham.
How much is he getting this offseason?
Will get a 5-year, $130 million contract.
Okay, how?
I mean,
how is that even? I know
he's 30+ home runs. And
he's not coming home.
No,
he's not coming. What do they predict for Luis Ariz?
I don't know, John, because I only have the top 25 here.
So he's below that. What's 25th on the list in terms of like years or dollars?
Well, it's not like.
Gotcha. It's not organized by money.
It's not organized by money. It's organized by top free agents.
Well, even the 25th. Who's the 25th player on the list?
Lucas Giolito.
And what's the contract's terms?
3 for $65.
Okay, so a good amount of money. It's top 25.
But Michael King and Dylan Cease are 2 of the top 25 free agents in this free agent class this year.
Makes sense, as they should be.
Yeah. Robert Suarez is on the list. Also, Luis Ariz on the list.
We know that Cease's time has come and gone here. We don't know if King's time has come and gone here. That I'm willing to say.
I would say it's done.
Cease or King?
Both.
Okay. You're probably right.
I would say they're both done. I just don't see the Padres handing out that type of money to Michael King. Could be wrong.
Mm-hmm.
And if they did, I would applaud it, but I'd also be like, a little worried.
Yep.
I won't be fully all in on that.
You're right.
Be a little worried, but I think the alternative to losing Michael King would be like, well, what do we got now? And if you went to next year with a healthy Michael King, a healthy Joe Musgrove, healthy Nick Pivetta, Randy Vasquez, JP Sears, Johnny Brito, Waldron, I'm sure they would probably sign someone else or make a trade for another pitcher.
I mean, King makes it way better.
Yeah.
When you include King with Pivetta
and Joe,
you're working with something.
And Randy V,
right?
But 4th or 5th starter.
But if you don't have King, and like you were just saying a minute ago, and I tend to agree, there's a very good chance you don't have Michael King. Well, that's a big part of the puzzle that we're trying to solve,
right?
Because if Michael King looks like Michael King next year, whether it's in San Diego or elsewhere, you're talking about 180 innings and a 3 ERA. You're talking about a top flight, less than what?
Less than a 3 ERA.
Well, he's had a 3 ERA here, right? Or what did he have last year when he was so dominant in 2024?
Before he got injured,
like a 2.98.
And last year he finished the year with a 3.44. But that was when he came back. He did not look great.
But what did he do in 2024?
2.95.
Okay, so
in 30 starts, 173 innings, a 2.95 ERA. When he went out with his injury, his ERA was sub-3 at 2.81.
Yeah. Listen, if you can get that, obviously that's a big piece of your rotation issues. But I don't know. A, are you going to have him? And B, is he going to be a sub-3 ERA guy when he returns? Is he just magically good next year?
Well, the thing about Michael King is he doesn't have a lot of wear and tear on his arm.
No, very little.
He's only been a starter for 2 seasons. And I know he's in his 30s, but his arm is relatively healthy.
Right.
The shoulder thing was, but then it turned into like a knee thing. And you're like, but he finished the year on a high note, striking out the side in Chicago. But I don't know how healthy he was at the end of the year, or if knowing, hey, I'm going to be a free agent, I can't push this here because I could lose out on a huge payday. Maybe that's the case.
494 career innings.
That's nothing.
It in the major leagues. That is truly nothing. And because of that, I think he probably can command as a 30-year-old something like a 4-year deal. I think an organization absolutely bites at that.
Yeah, 4-year deal, totally doable.
Mm-hmm.
When you get to like the 5-6 year range, you're like,
even 4 you could be burned.
Could be, absolutely, 100%. Not saying that you can't be, but when you look at other pitchers on the market, you know, Ranger Suarez, nice lefty.
Yeah, definitely.
3 year 75, higher AAV, but lesser years, right?
No, it's not even a higher AAV.
Is it? No, it's 25, right?
25. The other one's 27 and a half.
Yeah. Zach Gallen did not have a good year last year, but 2 for 45. If you keep Niebla, like that's a big key too. Is like the whole thing with signing Nick Pivetta last year was like, all right, we're gonna put Pivetta with Niebla and let him cook. And look what happened. Pivetta had an amazing year. Did you forget you lost your charger?
Well, the computer's about to die.
You could use your charger there. You know that, right?
Oh yeah, you're right.
that charger.
Oh, you're a genius.
Yeah, there you go. Boom.
Okay.
Charging.
Yep.
Good.
Look at you.
Wow. All right. I totally lost what I was saying, but
You're talking about the Chargers.
More importantly, I was talking about the Chargers.
Charging.
Oh, charging.
The point is, if I'm the organization and I see how this is played out with Musgrove and Darvish, and I understand the dangers of giving lots of years to starting pitchers, I'd be probably more tempted to go with the pitcher that's going to cost me that I can grab for less than 4 years, even if it's not the same caliber of pitcher. Like, is Ranger Suarez as good as Michael King on his best day? Maybe he is. A 1-2 whip this year, Ranger Suarez. He had a very good year in general. But let's even argue King is better than Suarez. But if I can get Suarez for less years, maybe Suarez makes more sense than King.
All right, here's a question for you. Would you rather? You can only pick one. You have to pick one. Kyle Schwarber. This is what Baseball America is predicting Kyle Schwarber would get.
How much money was it?
Kyle Schwarber, 3 years, $110 million, or Michael King, 4 years, $110 million. Who'd you choose?
Well, the sexy play is the offense. Honestly, the smart play is probably King.
Yes.
But for a team that really struggled to hit for power, the idea of Schwarber is really...
I want somebody that can hit bombs.
Me too. But what do you think is smarter? What do you think helps you get where you want to go more?
King.
Yeah, King. If King's King and Schwarber, I'll probably take King being King. But I mean, would I love Kyle Schwarber here? Yeah. Do I think he's coming here? No, I don't.
Yeah, I don't think so either.
Do they have any other would you rather?
Sure. Let's do Josh Naylor, 6 for 120.
Wow. 6.
Or Dylan Cease, 6 or 5 for 160.
Probably not probably Naylor, because I don't trust Cease. I don't trust Cease. And I think Naylor is a good professional hitter.
Right. That's pretty much it.
Okay. I like that. I like that game, though. Let's get to the wrap on the other side, and let's give away some tickets coming up later this hour as well. If you missed Mark Ziegler, you'll hear our conversation as we get you ready for Aztecs basketball tonight at Viejas Arena at 7 p.m. with pregame coverage beginning at 6 p.m. This is John and Jim, San Diego Sports 760, live on the iHeartRadio app. If you missed our conversation with Mark Ziegler, who covers the Aztecs for the UT, you'll hear it at 5:30. Pregame coverage from Viejas at 6. Aztecs Long Beach State at 7. We have a giveaway this hour for you, Jim. We've got tickets to see Bryan Adams at Viejas Arena November 16th. We'll give those away this hour. But right now, let's get to this.
It's time for the wrap. Presented by Sombrero Mexican Food. Check out their website at sombreromex.com.
Will the Aztecs be ranked in the initial college football playoff rankings that will come out tonight?
5 p.m.
Ready?
Ready? Couldn't sleep last night.
No, they will not.
Not ranked.
Not ranked. Maybe. But no, they won't.
It would be a bit of a surprise because they're on the outside looking in both polls right now, coaches and AP, but this is different. I'm going to say they're 25th.
Okay.
I'm going to say they're the 7-1 Aztecs winners of 6 straight will be recognized for their elite defense and 25th.
That'd be cool.
Yeah, and now again, does it mean anything in early November? No, not necessarily, but it's better than not being mentioned. So I'll say 25th for that. What if we see these rankings like 4th? Because you don't know. We've never seen them.
That'd be incredible.
That'd be sweet. 4th?
4th?
Jeez.
Get my tickets ready for
the Rose Bowl.
Yeah.
Next question.
Who's the front runner for NFL MVP?
It's a good question.
It is, because there's not really like some dominant player this year. What do you think? That's a good question. Dude.
Okay.
I don't know. Jonathan Taylor?
No. It's going to be a quarterback.
I know it
is.
is.
Sport.
Drake May?
I'm going to give you Will Brince's name. Matthew Stafford. I'm going to give you Matthew Stafford as the front runner. I think you could absolutely make the case for Daniel Jones with the Colts.
I mean, Matthew Stafford's having an incredible year. 21 touchdowns, only 2 interceptions on the season.
That's a good name.
Yeah.
In terms of a front runner.
Yeah.
Is Daniel Jones a good name with his 1-loss Colts?
Not
Not the same gaudy stats.
Not really.
Sam Darnold.
Sam Darnold in Seattle. I think
Uh,
they're 6-2, right?
16 touchdowns,
Yeah,
5
right.
interceptions on the year.
Good year.
Daniel Jones, 14 touchdowns, 8 interceptions.
Yeah, no.
Or 6 interceptions on
Half
the year.
those came yesterday on Sunday.
Right. So who you taking on that list?
I guess I'll take Matthew Stafford.
Yeah, Stafford makes sense. The halfway point.
It's crazy because like no one's talking about him.
Will Brinson is.
Besides Will. Will loves Matt.
And now we're. Next question.
Is tonight a must-win game for the Aztecs against Long Beach State?
Yes, it is. 100% for John's well-being.
Oh my gosh.
Because if the Aztecs lose tonight, you're not going to sleep. I mean, I know you're not sleeping. Coming off of what Hawaii Pacific did the other night at Boise.
Last night, Sharks.
Yeah. No, it's a must-win game. Can't lose. Can't lose to Long Beach State.
Cannot lose. Long Beach State last year, 7-25 under Chris Acker. They lost their last 15 games, which isn't great.
By the way, we have a replay of the World Series Game 2 on our station, on our TVs right now. And how the hell did Yoshinobu Yamamoto, there was runners on first and third, no outs. Vladdy's at the plate. It's a 2-0 count. He gets out of the inning, goes CG. Rest is history.
Next question.
It's just crazy.
Kind of speaking of that, who will win the 2026 World Series?
The Dodgers.
Kind of like the Marlins or the Orioles. I mean, the front runners, the Dodgers. Would you take Dodgers or Field? I'm taking Field.
I'll take Dodgers.
I'm taking Field.
Okay.
All right. Write this down. Mark this.
Write it down.
Sushi. Double or nothing.
Sushi?
Is that who you?
You owe me a lot of sushi.
Would you really take Dodgers over the Field
Yes.
entering next year to three-peat?
Yeah, I would.
Come on, man.
When they go out and sign
You
Kyle
just said
Tucker.
yesterday they barely won.
I know they
World
barely.
Series.
That's right. They barely won, but they're going to go out and they're going to sign Kyle Tucker. They're going to fix their bullpen. You don't think they're going to do those things? Of course,
I know
they
they
are.
are. Guess what? They did it last offseason too.
And Ohtani will win another MVP. and they have all this talent, and they have one of the best minor league systems in baseball.
Yeah, but the Giants have Tony Vitello.
And the Padres are about to have Ryan Flaherty.
Rockies are going to have a new VP of baseball operations any moment now.
Yeah, it could be Preller.
Right, exactly. They don't have a manager, right? We decided the two teams that have managers are the Rockies and the Padres.
Yeah, are they
working out a deal?
This is a weird thing going on here, guys.
But the Rockies also don't have a GM, correct?
They do not.
That's weird.
And two of their finalists for the president of baseball operations job,
yeah,
they said that, oh, by the way, you're not finalist anymore. They just
who said the Rockies said it?
Yeah, they
that makes sense.
They're oh, you're not the fun.
They're only going to hire one.
I know, but there was two people in the running, and they're like, actually, you guys aren't it.
Oh, wait, they were down to two?
Yeah.
Oh, that's weird.
AJ Preller, come on down.
I mean, what if Preller did leave? It's not happening. If Preller did leave for Colorado, what does that say about San Diego?
Sound the alarms, DEFCON 1.
Right?
Yep.
I mean, again, I don't forecast it. I really don't. It doesn't make sense to me. I think Preller ultimately gets an extension. Hopefully it's announced when they announce a manager. Maybe that's what the holdup is. Hey, we have our manager, but we still need to get this Preller deal done. And before he speaks to the media, get this thing done.
That's ridiculous.
How could it be this quiet on the reporting on AJ Preller's future and on the manager in a city as big as San Diego that has the Padres that drew 3.5 million fans?
The only major sports team in town, and you don't have any solid reporting on it on a day in and day out basis. What are we doing?
I don't know. I don't know what we're doing. I'm expecting something. I'm expecting breaking news.
One job. Let's go.
Right.
What is happening? Get her done.
Is it going to happen this week?
Find out what's going on.
What if we go this entire week? No manager announcement. Will they enter next year with a manager?
I said the date to watch is the 10th.
Well, what do you want? But okay, let's say we get to the 10th. I'll go down that path with you. Here we are. It's the 10th. No manager.
Well, then at least the people that would theoretically be reporting on this would be able to go talk to AJ Preller GM meeting.
Got you. I like that. In Vegas.
And there will be a lot of questions for AJ. Will he answer them? Probably not. But still, that would be very weird if they do not hire manager this week and we get to November 10th and the GM meetings are happening. What? That's the date I said you got to watch. If nothing happens by then, we got some weird, wacky times ahead potentially.
You gotta have it done by then. That's a good point. You're not going to GM meetings in Vegas
with no resolution on your future. And no manager.
Right.
Come on.
Agreed.
It's going to happen this week. It has to happen this week. If it doesn't happen this week, something's fishy.
All right, we're going to give away on the other side some tickets to see Bryan Adams coming up November 16th at Viejas Arena, the Roll with the Punches tour. We're getting ready for the Aztecs tonight. The latest on you, Darvish, will miss 2026. The latest in the Padres managerial search. Trade deadline's coming is the trade deadline passed in the NFL?
Yes, John.
Sauce Gardner has moved. I didn't know what time it was.
It happened at noon.
Is the trade deadline passed at
noon? 1 o'clock, actually.
Jim will have more on that in the 5 o'clock hour. This is John and Jim.
This update's brought to you by Robert Half. We'll start with Padres news of the day. Darvish announcing on social media he had elbow surgery. He will miss the entire 2026 season. He hopes to return to pitch again in 2027. SDFC news, Anders Dreyer was named the MLS newcomer of the year today, and the Aztecs take on Long Beach State tonight at Viejas Arena. 7 p.m. tip time. 6 p.m. is when our pregame coverage starts right here on San Diego Sports 760. At Robert Half, they found that 67% of companies want to increase contract talent. That's why their recruiters' expertise and award-winning AI work quickly to find the skilled candidates you want. At Robert Half, they know talent. Visit roberthalf.com/talent today.
All right, John and Jim, San Diego Sports 760. We'll give away some tickets here. Brian Adams coming up, Viejas Arena, November 16th. Roll with the Punches Tour. Tickets are available at Ticketmaster.com. We'll give those away in about 10 minutes. Mark Ziegler from the UT. If you missed our conversation, you'll hear it coming up at 5:30. We're waiting on the college football playoff rankings to be unveiled. For whatever that's worth. It's worth something to me. We'll find out around 5 p.m. if the Aztecs are going to be in the
means something
top
to me.
25.
It's real to me.
Not. What's that?
Nothing.
What are you referring to?
Nothing. It's okay. Just continue. It's a stupid thing I said.
Brent, you know what he was talking about?
Yeah, he's doing it's real to me, damn it.
Okay. So anyway, college football playoff rankings coming up at 5 p.m. Okay, do you want to react to the big trade deadline news?
Do you want to react to the big trade deadline news?
Not at all.
Do you? If I asked you right now,
Sauce Gardner.
Besides Sauce Gardner, do you know or anybody else that was traded today?
Yes.
Who?
Another Jet was on the move.
Who?
It's a big deal. It's a very big deal. They're getting like 3 first-round picks out of all this.
You're getting a lot of first-round picks.
They got Mykel Williams on the move.
Mykel Williams is going to the operation table because another 49er starter tore his ACL over the weekend.
What other moves were of impact today other than Sauce Gardner?
So the Jets have said, screw it. We're done here.
Which makes a lot of sense.
Yeah. Quinnen Williams, defensive tackle, former first round pick, traded to the Cowboys for a 2026 first rounder.
Okay.
That's a lot. Also, let's see here. Where was it? Saints made a trade today. I forget. Hold on. Pull this up here.
So you felt like I did, which is you didn't know who else was.
No, I saw. I'm just pulling it up so I get it right. Saints traded wide receiver Rashid Shaheed to the Seattle Seahawks.
Oh yes, Darnay was tweeting about that because he's in San Diego.
Yep. So Seahawks are saying we're going for it. The Saints traded offensive lineman Trevor Penning to the Chargers for a 2027 6th round pick.
Massive.
They just lost Joe Alt for the year. And those are like the big sizable trades of the day.
How would you compare the NFL trade deadline to the amount of discussion we treat the Major League Baseball trade deadline, where you talk about it for weeks leading up to it?
Well, I mean, in the NFL, today there were some sizable moves. Sauce Gardner, Quinnen Williams, Rashid Shaheed, like those are good names. People know those names. They're traded for first round picks, but for the most part, you're not seeing star players get traded in the middle of a season unless you see the Jets have a couple of star guys and they're like, we just suck. We need to rebuild. So let's get as many picks as we possibly can back for them. And
it's just different. It's not even about stars though for me in Major League Baseball. Like when they acquire like Jason Adam, it's not about getting a star. It's about getting a fit. It's still like a highly relevant story. Nobody knew who Jason Adam was here before they traded for him. But we spent a month talking about the needs of the Padres.
Right. And football, it's a little different.
It's different. It's just different.
Yeah.
When it comes to the halfway point,
right?
It doesn't come like at the 2/3 point.
Yeah.
And it doesn't feel like there's just moves. I mean, in baseball, how many moves were there this year? Record number?
A lot.
Dozens of moves.
I think in baseball too, with the trades, you can make a trade for lack of a better term, smaller level baseball player that can still contribute opposed to football. You're not going to trade for a special teams guy in football, but you'll trade for, like a middle reliever or somebody that's highly specialized where he's only going to pitch in that certain spot.
Are the Niners ready for the stretch run?
No, they have no players. They didn't make any trades today. Not surprised.
Okay.
Shouldn't have. Well, they're 6-3. It's
Good record.
It's incredible that they're 6-3 with the injuries they have. Like, hold on, let me pull this up here. So the 49ers week 1 starters plus games missed. Listen to this. Brock Purdy's missed 7 games with his turf toe. George Kittle missed 5. Ricky Pearsall's missed 5. Juwan Jennings has missed 2. Their starting left guard has missed 8. Their starting center has missed 2. Nick Bosa, Michael Williams, their first round pick, and Fred Warner all out for the season. Brandon Ayuk still has not been cleared to practice yet. He tore his ACL last year. Like, what?
And they are 6-3, like you said. I mean,
it's crazy how they are in it, but it doesn't feel like they're in it.
are they in it like the Padres are in it? Like, if they make the postseason, which they should, the Niners, are they going to be a threat, or is it just like, hey, we made the postseason with all these injuries and we went 11-6?
I don't see them as a threat. I mean, they could be a tough out potentially because with Kyle Shanahan and Robert Saleh, like, just from pure coaching alone, they could out scheme other teams and out coach other teams, and coaching in the NFL matters so much. So with the players that they don't have on the field, they can make up and scheme because their coaches are just that good. That's what's happened this year. They've coached their ass off to a 6-3 record. It's crazy. And oh, by the way, Christian McCaffrey, they're giving him the ball every other time. I'm scared for Christian McCaffrey's health, dude. It is like, I'm trying to look this up right now. So he has touched the ball already more than anybody in the league. And he's going to have probably if he stays healthy, which is still like definitely up in the air. He has rushed the ball this year, John, 168 times for only 596 yards. His longest rush of the season
Is how long?
16 yards.
How? That's crazy.
He's averaging 3.5 yards per attempt. And
how old is he now?
He's 29. He's
With
done
the body of like a 39-year-old?
Yeah. He has 596 yards rushing. He has 626 yards receiving.
That's crazy, though.
He has rushed 168 times. He's caught 61 passes. He's already at 229 touches on the year
in 9 games.
In 9 games.
So double that, basically, your 460 touches.
And the most touches he's had in his career was in 2019. He rushed for 287. He rushed 287 times, and he caught 116 balls. And he was injured and not right for 2 seasons after that.
Right. So this is basically maybe the end of the road here.
2022. With Carolina and San Francisco, he had 244 carries, caught 85 balls. The following season, he was injured. Then in 2023, ran for 272 attempts, caught 67 balls. The following season, injured. He will be injured next year.
Right. So you better kind of win now. And he's not getting younger.
No.
This is the window.
I love Christian McCaffrey, but what I just told you right there is after he has big years with touching the ball, he's the next year hurt.
I mean, it makes sense. I mean, look at Saquon Barkley last year. All those touches, that deep playoff run, all those games. He's not getting anywhere near what he did in 2024, in 2025. I mean, nowhere near it, right?
No.
Not even close.
I do think that, though, is a little by design.
I think so, too.
I mean, he rushed 345 times last year, caught 33 balls. This year, in 8 games, 127.
So he's on pace for 100 less carries.
Which I do think is by design.
He's also on pace for 1,000 yards after rushing last year for 2,000 yards. I mean, that's now, like you said, it's a little bit like the Dodgers. It's like, save it for when it matters. If he's fresh and healthy and you are a top seed in the NFC and you got Saquon Barkley fresh and healthy,
that's way more important than how many times you touch the football
completely
for the season.
Completely. But yeah, I mean, I guess maybe when you're younger in the NFL as a running back, maybe you can put up back-to-back heavy workload years, but man, it's hard.
And the reason why the Niners are 6-3 is because they're using Christian McCaffrey so much. They can't afford to not use him as much as they've used him.
Right.
Because if they don't, they're not winning these games.
Right, exactly. Yeah, that makes sense.
So it just sucks because you know that like he's not gonna have a good year next year because he's going to touch the ball damn near 400 times this year if he stays healthy.
I feel like the Niners are a little bit like, maybe this is disrespectful, you tell me. I feel like they're a little bit, though, like the Padres. They'll just find a way to get to the postseason and then go from there. Kind of fall out of bed in the postseason. Like how many times in the last 7? Well, they've been more successful because they've been to Super Bowls.
Well,
I was going to say, how many times have they made the postseason in the last 7 years? 6, 5?
They're not a make the postseason every year type of team. They are we make the postseason, we make a deep run, we go to NFC title games or Super Bowls, and then the next year we bottom out at like 5-12 or 6-11 because everyone's injured.
They've done that twice in the last 4 years or just once? Like I'm looking, they were in 2019, 2021, 2022, 2023.
And then injury year, Super Bowl, injury year,
Right.
6-3.
Right. And the Padres haven't been to a Super Bowl.
Correct.
Nor will they go ever to a Super Bowl.
They will never go to a Super Bowl.
Padres will never play in a Super Bowl.
They will never.
All right. If you missed Mark Ziegler, you'll hear our conversation coming up at 5:30. Aztecs getting ready for Long Beach State coming up at 7 p.m. This is John and Jim.
All right, back here on John and Jim. John's on his way down to Viejas Arena. Aztecs Long Beach State tonight, 7 p.m. tip-off, 6 p.m. pregame. John will be on the call. John's doing a lot. Do the show, do the pre, he's doing the post as well.
Only for home games.
Only for home games.
Fletch is doing road games for post, and John's doing home games.
Okay. So anyway, John will make his debut tonight as the official Aztec basketball play-by-play announcer. You can listen to his first ever. He's done broadcasts before on the radio for the Aztecs, on TV as well, but it's official now. Yep. 7 p.m. tip time. San Diego State, Long Beach State. Hopefully it doesn't turn into a Hawaii Pacific Boise State situation like last night.
Yeah. Hopefully nobody's getting drug off the court.
Yeah, I don't think it's going to turn into that. I know Chris Acker is the Long Beach State head coach. I feel good about this Aztec basketball team. I feel like this Aztec basketball team has the potential to be one of the better programs in the country. One, if they stay healthy. Two, if everybody's pulling on the same rope. And if those things are happening, the health is obviously the biggest concern here. If they all stay healthy, it just feels like the depth of this team will overtake and just, win a bunch of games because of their depth. And tonight, it's going to be exciting to see what they look like. They won't be a fully healthy roster because still Magoon is out, and we don't know about Reese Dixon Waters, if he's going to be out there, because we talked to Mark Ziegler earlier in the show, and he mentioned that, Reese is dealing with some type of sickness or whatnot. But if Reese is out there, we're going to see a pretty close to healthy team. And then once Magoon gets back, if he gets back as early as Sunday afternoon, then we can see a fully healthy Aztec team. And I think a fully healthy Aztec team, they just have so many weapons and they have so much depth that I can't wait to see what it looks like. And Dutch mentioned, it's not easy when you have a team with so much depth that you have to make everybody and appease everybody, and the starters and what the rotation's going to look like. When you have a team that is 8-9 deep, it's much easier to have everybody in their spot. Okay, you're the first off the bench. But when you have close to 12 to 13 deep, it could be a little tricky. So I'm excited to see what this team looks like starting tonight. 7 p.m. tip time. 6 p.m. is when our pregame coverage starts. If you can't listen to the game on the radio, you can watch it on KUSI, correct, which is cool. So I'll be watching tonight, KUSI. All their non-conference games will be on KUSI this upcoming season. So I just saw this on my timeline, which I thought was pretty interesting. The ratings, the top markets for the 2025 World Series just came out. So outside of Los Angeles, this is just in the United States. It's not.
I was going to say Tokyo and LA.
Yeah, no, it's not factoring in Canada, which, by the way, I think the number for Canada was over 50% of Canada was watching the World Series. It was a crazy number. Over 10 million people were, or not 10 million. I think it was 10 million. Yeah, 10 million people were watching in Toronto. That's crazy. But here's the numbers for the top U.S. markets for the 2025 World Series. Obviously, Los Angeles, massive number. This is just in shares. 17.6, 53 share, which means basically half of Los Angeles was watching the World Series. Number 2 on the list, San Diego. San Diego comes in at number 2 on the top markets to watch the 2025 World Series as far as ratings go. 10.9 share, a massive number. Second on the list, or third on the list, was Seattle, followed by St. Louis, Milwaukee, Las Vegas, Portland, Buffalo, Sacramento, and Minnesota. So Los Angeles and San Diego, the top 2 viewing markets in the United States for the World Series.
That doesn't really surprise me, though, because if you throw in all the San Diegans that were hate watching, and we're all, Canadians for a week.
Right.
And then you throw in, whether people want to admit, there's a lot of Dodger fans that live in San Diego.
There is, unfortunately.
I'm kind of surprised maybe that it was number 2. I kind of figured it'd be maybe like 3 or 4, somewhere like on the kind of outside edge there. But yeah, it doesn't surprise me that much, because like I said, how many people were just, hate watching and just were the biggest Blue Jays fans for a week, hoping the Dodgers were going to lose.
Yeah, Dodger fans will call it hate watching. I call it's the World Series. I want to watch the World Series.
It can be both.
It can be both. And if the Dodgers weren't in the World Series, I would still be watching the World Series. And look, as I said, this World Series objectively was fantastic. I hate the Dodgers more than anything, but I have to give credit kind of where credit is due. They played their ass off. And if you just took away the logos of the teams and you just said Team X versus Team Y, right? It was a great series. It's a great series. And if you love baseball, which, by the way, this town loves baseball. Okay, this has turned into a baseball town. One, yes, they're going to watch for, hate watching purposes. But also, two, if you love baseball, this is a great series to watch. It's one of the best World Series ever. It wasn't, I'm not going to say it's the best World Series ever because the Dodgers won. If the Blue Jays won, then hell yeah, it's the best World Series of all time. But like the things that happened in that World Series, the 11 inning Game 7, the 18 inning Game 3, the pitching performances, Shohei, whatever, it was objectively an incredible baseball watch. So I'm not surprised by that huge number at all. But again, Dodger fans that care more about the Padres than the Dodgers are going to view it as, oh, the Padres fans hate watching the Dodgers. Blah, like, okay. Again, I didn't see San Francisco on this list. San Francisco needs to do better with their hate watching. Because, trust me, I know Giants fans, they do not like Dodger fans and vice versa.
We're looking at you, Anaheim. Do better.
Come on, guys. Pick up your hate watching. What are we doing here? Seattle, I think there was an element of hate watching there to watch to see if the Blue Jays would lose because they were that close to making the World Series. If it wasn't for George Springer's 3-run homer there in the 7th inning of Game 7, then they're playing the Dodgers. St. Louis is an interesting one, but St. Louis, you could also describe them, baseball town.
Yeah, they're a big baseball town.
Milwaukee, not surprising. They were, I want to say they were close. They weren't really close because that got their ass kicked by the Dodgers, but still they were in the NLCS and 4 wins away from a World Series. So you kind of want to see how it plays out. And then Las Vegas is interesting. Portland, Buffalo, Sacramento.
Vegas makes sense just from a gambling standpoint. It's going to get watched there just, in the casinos and everywhere else because everyone's going to be gambling on it. So that kind of makes sense.
Yeah. So good job hate watching San Diego. Didn't really work out in the end, but we had a fun time.
We tried.
We tried. All right. Coming up next, Dave Velasquez joined us yesterday to preview San Diego State's game tonight as they tip off their regular season against Long Beach State. You're going to hear from assistant head coach Dave Velasquez. Also, you're going to hear from Mark Ziegler. He joined us earlier in the show today as well to preview that game. That's all coming up next in the 5 o'clock hour right here on John and Jim on San Diego Sports 760 and live on the iHeartRadio app. All right, this update is brought to you by Robert Half. The college football playoff top 25 rankings are about to be announced. We'll keep you updated to see if the Aztecs crack the top 25. Darvish announced earlier today that he's going to have elbow surgery and miss the entire 2026 season. He hopes to return in 2027. SDFC news, Anders Dreyer, he was named the MLS Newcomer of the Year. And the Aztecs basketball team takes on Long Beach State tonight at Viejas Arena, 7 p.m. tip time. 6 p.m. is when our pregame coverage starts right here on San Diego Sports 760. At Robert Half, they found that 67% of companies want to increase contract talent. That's why their recruiters' expertise and awards-winning AI work quickly to find these skilled candidates you want. At Robert Half, they know talent. Visit roberthalf.com/talent today.
Another day, still no Padres manager. May want to make a decision soon. Just a thought. The NFL trade deadline is passed. Who's going where and why? And Aztecs basketball tips off tonight from the Mesa. A preview is on the way now from the studios of San Diego Sports 760. Here's John and Jim.
All right, final hour of John and Jim. Aztec basketball tonight at 7 p.m. Our pregame coverage starts at 6 p.m. We're going to hear from Dave Velasquez in a moment. The college football playoff rankings are about to be announced, the very first one of the 2025 season. I don't think we're going to see the Aztecs in the top 25, but like you said, Brent, off air, we'll know pretty quickly.
I don't think we will either, but the college football playoff rankings are different than like the AP and the coaches poll,
right? Yeah.
To where you'll see some oddball teams that won't necessarily be in the AP or coaches that will get into the CFP for like some of the smaller schools. So that's why there's an outside shot that we might, like Johnson, we might get like 25 or something like that, but I'm not holding my breath about it.
Still would be an amazing accomplishment
going from last year to
yeah,
this, yeah,
right.
Huge.
In the top 25 college football playoff rankings, like that'd be great. So we'll keep you updated on that. But yesterday afternoon, assistant head coach Dave Velasquez joined us to talk about the start of their season. Long Beach State, give us an update on Magoon. Here's our conversation with assistant head coach Dave Velasquez.
Yeah, we're really excited to get it going. You know, I think as you can see in our first two exhibition games, one against UCLA, one against the University of San Diego, you know, how important our depth is, what a luxury it is to have the depth, but at the same time, what problems that may cause down the line. I mean, I'm not so sure that Coach Dutcher knows who he's even starting tomorrow, and that's a good problem to have because we have so many good players this year, and they've worked really hard. They've really earned this opportunity to go out there and play well tomorrow, hopefully, and I thought we did a really good job of growing from our UCLA game to the University of San Diego game and then getting better at practice ever since.
What's that feeling like for you, knowing that, you know, the coach of Long Beach State is someone you work so closely with for so long, and Chris Acker, knowing you look over there and he's coaching Long Beach State, and you're probably going to see some similarities with how they run their plays and defenses. Well, what's that going to feel like, and what's that experience like for you?
No coach likes these games. Yeah. You know, it's not fun to play your friends. You know, we get really competitive. And he'll win at all costs, the same way we're going to want to win at all costs. But, you know, there is a lot of similarities in terms of the X's and O's. I mean, Coach Acker was just an unbelievable assistant for us, one of the best we've ever had here, and, you know, did a great job here. You know, they earned a head coaching job at Long Beach State, which these head coaching jobs are hard to get. And he earned the one he has right now, and his team is very connected. There's the defensive scheme is very similar to ours. Offensively, it's a little different, but defensively, I mean, we're going to be playing a lot like ourselves at practice. So it's going to be something we're familiar with, but at the same time, we know how hard it is to score on us. And so it's going to be a challenge for us, and it's going to be something that is going to feel very similar to what we do every day.
San Diego State, Long Beach State, Viejas Arena tomorrow night at 7 p.m. A game you can hear right here on San Diego Sports 760. If tickets remain, limited tickets would be at goaztecs.com. So I go back to this offseason, Coach, and you spent a good amount of time with Miles Bird throughout that NBA Combine process. Having gone through that and now seeing where Miles is heading into his fourth college year, how will this experience of the offseason potentially benefit him this season?
Well, I think what it's done is it's allowed Miles to, just mentally mature in terms of, what do the NBA want to see and what does he need to improve on this season for himself. And I think one of the biggest thing is his consistency, that we don't ride too many waves of great, games and then some games of not so great games. And I think just him being more consistent, he's been much more consistent at practice in terms of his, not just physical approach, but his mental approach. And he's the leader of this team and guys rally behind him. And skill wise, they continue to just take care of the ball, make smart plays, make the right plays, not always have to make the home run plays. And Miles has done a good job with that. And then defensively, he's just got to be himself, protect the rim, get steals, get out in passing lanes. He has such great defensive instincts. We don't want to hold him back too much, but at the same time, he's got to be smart about how much, what Coach Fisher calls smart aggressive in his defensive play.
We talked to Reese Waters last week, and, it's like getting a new player. I mean, you didn't have him last year, and now he's back for you guys this year. And, his game, obviously. And the things that he's improved on is, year off since his injury. How big is it to have a guy like Reese Waters back into the fold here, knowing, this guy is just a bona fide scorer for you?
Absolutely. I mean, you guys can correct me if I'm wrong. I think he was our leading scorer in our 2 exhibition games, against UCLA and University of San Diego. I mean, he's a guy that really can just go get a bucket. He's one of those guys that some days the offense, the team's going to be doing really well. They're going to be trying to take you out of your flow, but he's the one guy that you can trust that can just raise up and knock down a bucket. And that's a huge strength of ours for our team this year, having Reese out there. We've already seen it in the 2 games we've played. We see it every day at practice. His ability to score the ball is just an elite level. And that's the other part of this is he's an older, college player at this point. He's been through a lot. He's seen a lot. When he comes to practice, he understands what we're trying to work on. He can help the younger guys. And he's a guy that he's had so many games under his belt and so much practice that this is really his turn to hopefully play the best basketball of his life as we move forward.
Dave Velasquez with us right now, longtime Aztec assistant, getting ready for San Diego State, Long Beach State tomorrow night at 7 p.m. So I've said this before about some of these recent freshman classes where they don't look like freshmen. We said that last year, I think, with Taj and Farrow. They didn't physically look like freshmen. They looked like guys that could have been upperclassmen. I mean, you say the same now watching LZ Harrington and watching Tay Simmons, just seeing how they've been incorporated and what they've, how they've impacted these games, these exhibition games. How do you feel about that group, LZ and Tay, and their potential impact to start the year?
We never really know with freshmen, but I will say this: with last year's group, with Taj and Farrell, we did not expect them to come in and basically what people would say, wait their turn. We expect them to be on the floor, be players for us when they got here. And there's a level of talent, and there's a level of what we've seen for when they got in high school, then when they get here, and there's no difference with LZ and Tay, and you've seen it already. I mean, Tay's ability to be physical, to rebound the basketball, to play with his high motor. When things start, the more games he gets under the belt, the more comfortable he'll be. And the hardest positions to play in college basketball is actually is being a big. That you learn so much through the time of being out there, through game reps, and I know he'll continue to get better. And then LZ Harrington is he can do so much with that great size. He has an unbelievable change of pace, and he has a high basketball IQ. So as a freshman, again, you can trust that you can put the ball in his hands. I thought the University of San Diego game, he did a really good job playing a point guard position for us. I mean, just his ability to get in the paint, make plays for others, play downhill. And then defensively, he's blessed with the length and athleticism that he can make plays defensively. So, yeah, we're excited about both of them. We're expecting both of them to be great contributors this year.
When we talked to Dutch last week about the depth of your team, I mean, you mentioned, I don't even know if Dutch knows who's going to start on tomorrow night. But, navigating that and knowing you have so many pieces that could play significant time as a coaching staff, how much conversations do you guys have about all the different scenarios and lineups that you guys could deploy this year?
A lot, to be honest. We kind of got to let the first 2 games happen. In the first 2 games, we basically, 5 guys in, 5 guys out. And then we're trying to get 11th guy in quite a bit in that first half. So we've talked about it a lot, and who's going to play well with who, and it's not an easy job for Dutch this year. I mean, you've seen the talent we have, and now you got to throw in another wrinkle. We're not going to have him tomorrow, but then what happens when Magoon comes back? We talk about that a lot. You're talking about an all-league player, and so and it's going to be different for each guy. And what the thing that I'm excited about, and we've had other deep teams here. I'm not sure if we've had as deep of a team, but we've had other deep teams here. Sometimes it's just not your night. And to have somebody else that can be there and it could be their night. And I think you're just going to see it a lot throughout the year. There's going to be a lot of different guys talking to John Schaefer after the game, who's the player of the game, which is a good thing to have. And you just don't know. And it doesn't mean if you don't start, that can't be your night. And I think that's what we'll find out throughout the year. And, it's going to take it's going to be a huge mental approach from our team to deal with that. That's not going to be easy. We went into the last season, and I'm not sure how many times, if maybe once or twice, we've even changed the starting lineup. I don't think this year is going to be like that. I think there's going to be times where we start a group and then we come out at halftime and there's a different group out there. It's just that type of team that we have this year. And so again, to answer your question, honestly, we talk about this stuff all day long, in the offense, about when we start talking about substitution patterns and who's going to start, and all those type of things. But it's a great problem to have, but it's not going to be an easy one for Coach Dutch and the rest of the staff.
Dave Velasquez with us right now. Is it one of those things, and maybe this is a dumb question, but I feel like people get so wrapped up in who starts, but at the end of the day, is it just as impactful to be finishing? I mean, I go back to like the national championship game. I don't think 5 starters are on the floor, right? Like, so it's a 40-minute game. It's not baseball where there's one starting pitcher and the guy goes 7 innings. I mean, you could start, play 4 minutes, but somebody else could play more minutes in the first half, right?
Yeah, I mean, let's go back to the most famous game we ever played in, the Florida Atlantic game. The guy who made the shot before Lamont, Jalen Ledee, he didn't start.
Right.
The guy who was guarding the guy that ended up getting switched on to AG was Micah Parrish. He didn't start. The guy who blocked the shot before Lamont's shot was Wickerow. He didn't start that game. And that's what I mean. It's just the impact that all these guys can have, and it doesn't matter who is starting. It's, obviously the 5 guys that are playing that best tonight will be finishing the game.
Sure.
And that's a coach's job to make sure we do. But we can't go into every game like, okay, that starting group's the best 5. We don't know that. And that's something that we're going to try to find out throughout the year. And I'm sure there'll be some, type of flow. And you want to keep guys in some type of rhythm, throughout a season. And we'll get to that. But it's not for right now. Right now is they're continuing to earn what they get. And I think that will be something that will happen throughout the season. They will earn whatever opportunities that come to them.
Do you know what year this is for you at San Diego State, or if you lost track? I have your bio in front of me. Do you know what season this is about to be?
Is this 23 or 24?
It says 24, so if it's not, yell at Richard.
Oh, boy. Yeah, no, it is. It is.
24.
I was having to do some math last night. My parents always flying for the first game, and we were talking about that last night. So I couldn't feel like I'm the most blessed, lucky coach to have 24 season openers at San Diego State, and there's nowhere else I'd rather be.
Been a nice little 24-year run for the Aztecs on the Mesa. I'll tell you that.
Yeah, it's not bad.
It's been a nice little 24-year run. Dave, appreciate you as always. We will see you tomorrow night. Cannot believe it. Tomorrow night, we'll see you and Aztec fans at VA House Arena. We appreciate you, man.
Thank you, guys. We are equally as excited, and go Aztecs.
All right. Just again, reminder tonight, San Diego State takes on Long Beach State. 7 p.m. tip time, 6 p.m. pregame right here on San Diego Sports 760. So the college football playoff rankings are just about done. And we are at number 9 right now in the top 25. We'll go over that coming up next. Did the Aztecs make the top 25 list? We'll discuss coming up on the other side right here on John and Jim on San Diego Sports 760 and live on the iHeartRadio app. All right, back here on John and Jim. The college football playoff top 25 has just officially been announced. Looking at the playoffs, here is the playoffs for the first round of the college football playoff rankings this upcoming year. So, top 4 seeds: Ohio State, Indiana, Texas A&M, and Alabama. All 4 of those teams will get the bye. In the first round, Notre Dame would take on BYU, a 10-7 matchup. Virginia against Ole Miss, 11-6 matchup. Oregon against Texas Tech, a 9-8 matchup. In Memphis against Georgia, the 12-5 matchup. Memphis is the non-Power 5 school that would be in the college football playoffs. So whoever's playing Memphis, go that team. And hopefully San Diego State can run the table. I don't know where San Diego State would fit or land, how far behind they would be of Memphis. But anyway, that is the first college football playoff 12-team bracket of the season. Obviously, things will change, but on first glance, okay. I like it. The first 2 teams out would be Texas and Oklahoma. So we'll see. I like it. First off, Ohio State, number 1, Indiana, number 2, Texas A&M, number 3, Alabama, number 4. Okay. I don't have a problem with that. There's nothing to really get upset about over the first 12-team projection college football playoff ranking here. There's nothing really to get upset about. I was wondering if San Diego State would crack the top 25. Obviously, that's not the case. They didn't. I don't know how close they were. Maybe they weren't even close at all. But at the end of the day, for San Diego State right now, they got to worry about Hawaii on Saturday. And then after that, if they can get through Hawaii with a win to improve to 8-1, that Boise game here at Snapdragon Stadium will be massive. They're already in first place in the Mountain West Conference. If they can beat Boise State at home, first things first, but then you're looking at a 2-game lead over Boise. Boise might not even be in the Mountain West Conference title game if they, lose here, depending on what happens behind them. So going forward, I know that it's a fun thing to think about. Like, oh, San Diego State runs the table. Could they get in the college football playoff? First things first. And that's the Mountain West Conference. Get through that, then we can discuss potentially the Aztecs, getting into the college football playoffs.
Yeah, I kind of said a week ago when he kind of started going, is it too early to start talking? Yeah, ask me again after the Boise State game. I think that will be the appropriate time to start kind of looking more heavily into this, because otherwise it's still too early.
Yeah, if they get through Boise State and they're 9-1 they'd be the top of the Mountain West Conference still, because they'd be undefeated in Mountain West Conference play. 9-1, and you're finishing up your season with a pretty favorable schedule. The New Mexico game at the end of the year, okay. Then it feels like you got an inside track here at a Mountain West Conference championship. And that's always the first goal here, is to win the conference. And then everything else will play out, right? That their non-conference schedule is what it was. Okay. They slipped up against Washington State, but they took care of business against Northern Illinois. They came out of non-conference play at 3-1. Overall, they've done what they needed to do. And it really is one of the better stories in college football this season, from where they were last year to where they are this year. I wouldn't consider it like the story of college football season. But when you're picking out, 5 to 10 feel-good stories of the year, San Diego State is absolutely in that conversation, for sure, for what Sean Lewis has been able to do here at San Diego State, from winning only 3 games last year to now in first place in the Mountain West Conference at 7-1. We'll see how things play out, but much improved team. Their defense is one of the best defenses in the country, allowing 10 points per game. Their offense, while at times looks not great, they still have the big play capability. And that's something that was desperately missing from this Aztec offense in the past was, hey, they have a great defense, but, can their offense do anything? At times, this offense struggles. But like I said, this offense compared to past offenses with good defenses, this one has the big play capability. Those teams, they did not. And the only way they would have big plays is on the ground. This team can do it on the ground and through the air, and they've shown they can do that this year.
Well, they've done a good job too of, last year they did a lot of shooting themselves in the foot on offense.
Penalties, turnovers.
Yeah, they had so many touchdowns taken off the board for, their popular one was, illegal man downfield because they'd have a lineman that was too far down,
right.
And, or stupid holding penalties and stuff like that. And they've, for the most part, they've cleaned all that sloppiness up this year, and it's made a huge difference.
Isn't that shocker? Clean up the penalties and the turnovers, like especially the penalties part. That penalties were a huge story of last year's team. What a surprise. When you don't commit as many penalties and you don't shoot yourself in the foot all the time, you play good football. It's not rocket science.
Well, and a lot of the penalties last year, I think, led to some of the turnovers because, instead of having a touchdown, now it's called back because you got holding. So now instead of having a touchdown on the board,
it's
now
like
it's
3rd and 15.
3rd and 27 or something like that. And it's like, oh, well, now we don't really have a lot of choice. And they force the ball down the field then because what are they going to do? And then they turn it over.
Exactly. So anyway, not a surprise, really, I think, with anything in the college football playoff rankings here. Anything surprise you, Brent, or?
Not really. I did think it was kind of interesting. Indiana and Ohio State don't play each other this year. So if they play, it won't be until the Big Ten championship game. So if everything played out, they would have number 1 versus number 2 in the Big Ten. It's almost like the Big Ten has switched spots with the SEC.
Right.
Because remember, forever is always,
Georgia, Alabama.
Yeah. All the SEC honks would always be like, oh, well, I want to see Alabama and Auburn again. We just saw it 2 days ago, but we're just I want that to be the national. It's like, no.
And by the way, you're right. If they do meet in the Big Ten title game, what happens with the loser? Like if they go into that game 1-2, does the loser drop past 4?
I would think so. It probably depends on what the score is. You would almost think so.
My guess is if Ohio State lost, they would still get a bye. If Indiana lost, probably they would drop, depending on what happens around them as well. Like Alabama's already in there. Texas A&M's already in there. What other teams potentially could, jump Indiana if that was the scenario? I mean, you're looking at, could Georgia do that if they beat Alabama, but then Alabama's out, so then they just flip spots there. Ole Miss, I mean, same thing. It's like
the weird thing with Indiana is last year everyone was kind of surprised by it because they always sucked at football.
But basketball school.
But now with NIL, they've shown that they can spend the money to get players in there to put together a quality football team. And I don't think the committee is going to be as harsh or as hard on them as they were last year. Because remember last year was, Indiana, they don't deserve to be there. That's Indiana, blah, blah, blah. Well, Indiana's putting up 70 burgers on teams all this year. And,
deserve it.
Yes. Yeah. They look like they belong.
They deserve it. Absolutely. All right. Coming up next, we talked to Mark Ziegler earlier in the show to preview the start of the Aztecs basketball season tonight at Viejas Arena. You're going to hear that conversation coming up next right here on John and Jim on San Diego Sports 760 and live on the iHeartRadio app. All right, so update's brought to you by Robert Half. Padres news, we'll start there. Darvish, he's going to miss the 2026 season. He had Tommy John surgery today, or at least he had Tommy John surgery recently. He said he hopes to return to pitch again for the Padres in 2027, so he will not be retiring. San Diego FC news of the day, Anders Dreyer, he was named the MLS newcomer of the year today, and the Aztecs take on Long Beach State tonight at Viejas Arena, 7 p.m. tip time. 6 p.m. is when our pregame coverage starts right here on San Diego Sports 760. At Robert Half, they found that 67% of companies want to increase contract talent. That's why their recruiters, expertise, and award-winning AI work quickly to find the skilled candidates you want. At Robert Half, they know talent. Visit roberthalf.com/talent today. All right, back here on John and Jim, Aztec pregame show, about 30 minutes away from now. Live at Viejas Arena, Ben Fletcher, John Schaefer, leading you up to tip time at 7 p.m. Mark Ziegler joined us earlier in the show today. We talked to him about this upcoming Aztec season and, of course, tonight's opener at Viejas Arena. We started with the health of Reese Dixon Waters and if there's a possibility that he might miss tonight's game.
Yeah, Brian Dutch is really big on you've got to practice if you're going to start and usually play unless, there's certain situations like obviously with AG a few years ago where he doesn't want you to practice. Right. He doesn't want your injury to get worse and just wants you to play. But he's going to have to make a little bit of a decision based on how he's feeling and what he feels is fair based on the practices that he's missed. I think he'll play. That's my sense. But he looked okay in practice, but he didn't go live yesterday. But does he start or come off the bench? I don't know. And so that throws a little bit of a wrench. And, obviously you're going to have Miles Bird coming back into the starting lineup. He did not start either of the games, didn't play the second exhibition at all, and didn't start the first one. So he'll be back in the starting lineup. So it's going to be a different team on the floor than we saw in the exhibition. So anything new, there's sometimes a little break-in period. So we'll see how they adjust to all those changes.
For Aztecs fans, what if you're looking at Long Beach State as like, a team that could come in here and maybe upset the Aztecs? What are some things that you think Long Beach State would need to do tonight to do that? Or do you think that's not even going to, remotely happen?
Well, this team shouldn't lose to a team like Long Beach State. They have that much talent, that much depth. I'm not sure there's a player on Long Beach State's roster that could make the Aztecs 13 scholarship roster. But that said, you've got a coach who has a lot of familiarity, knows kind of the weaknesses of the program and the target points and how to put a game plan together, having worked here for 5 years. It's another one of those Big West teams that come in here with a little bit of chip on their shoulder. A lot of those guys probably wanted to play at San Diego State. They know about San Diego State. It isn't a lot of travel for them. They're in the same time zone. And they're going to take their shot. If you remember UC Irvine the last few years coming into Viejas Arena, both those games went down to buzzer beaters, both by the same guy, as a matter of fact, Michael Parrish. And so it's a little bit of a dangerous game. I tend to think that the bye games against schools that are from out of the area are a little bit easier because they don't know San Diego State. They don't have a chip on their shoulder. They have to travel. And I think they step to the Viejas Arena and get overwhelmed. I'm not sure these guys will. I think they'll actually be looking forward to it. So a little bit trickier game than maybe some of the other ones on the non-conference schedule at home, at least.
Mark Ziegler covers the Aztecs for the UT. He's back with us on John and Jim. So you and I both saw the result. I actually threw it on the Mount West Network. It was utterly shocking, but it is college athletics. And Division II Hawaii Pacific beats Boise State, one of the better programs in the league over the last half decade. I guess twofold. What's the impact on Boise State losing a game like that? It's so rare to see a result like that. And what's the impact, or at least the perception impact, on the Mountain West?
Well, a lot of those games, are exhibitions, and so they don't count and don't have any impact. Yep. But this was an actual opener and counted. It will not hurt them in the metrics because the metrics don't consider Division II. And it's one of the reasons teams like San Diego State play Division II teams, because they don't want to play a lower level Division I team and get pulled down in the metrics if they don't, beat them by 30. And so they'll play the E2 team knowing they'll have zero impact. But in terms of the realistic impact, it will be an impact, because when those team sheets go to the NCAA selection committee, that game will be on there. They will see a loss to a Division II team. It won't be reflected in the metrics they're looking at, but they will see that loss and they will consider it. And so that is going to have an impact. And, people would say, well, look, if they win the rest of their non-conference games, no one will remember that. But if you're losing to Hawaii Pacific at home in your opener, you probably have bigger issues, and that might be a portent of more losses to come. So I think that's the bigger concern, is that, maybe this team is as good as we thought.
Back to the Aztecs tonight. What's your guess on what the starting lineup will look like tonight?
Well, it depends if Reese Dixon Waters starts or not. I think obviously Miles Bird will be back in there. Taj DeGorville, I think, has won the right to start at the point. And Jeremiah Oden will start. And then I think it's going to be a toss-up between Miles Heide and Terrell Compton at the 5 spot. I think both have made a pretty good case for that spot. And Brian Dutcher has admitted as much and just said, this one's really too close to call, and I'll probably rotate them through the season. Who gets to start tonight? Maybe it's Miles Heide, because it's his turn. I mean, he started the first game and first exhibition, and Farrell started the second. So maybe they go back to Miles, or maybe, I don't know. They're different type of players. Miles has been rebounding like a maniac. He's been playing good defense. He had some rim protection, but he's not much of a scorer. And Farrell showed an ability to score, not just with dunking, but he hit a mid-range jumper. His free throws looked like a little bit improved, and he scored considerably more points than Miles did in the first 2 exhibitions, but just didn't rebound as well. So it's kind of what you want. But you can make an argument that Farrell brings more energy because of the way he plays, and that's what you want off the bench. You want energy guys. And so there's a value to having that energy coming off the bench. But I can see him go either way, and that's going to be the thing. If Reese doesn't start, that's a big question, who starts in his place. You could put B.J. Davis in there, who started 31 games last year. You could put Sean Newman and move him to the point, and then move Taj over to a 2 guard. So I could see either of those scenarios if they decide not to go with Reese.
Mark Ziegler with us right now, covers the Aztecs for the UT. You kind of mentioned the depth and what Brian Dutcher is dealing with the starting lineup. I think sometimes people would say, well, this might be a hard year for a head coach because maybe they don't have depth. Like maybe last year was hard for Brian Dutcher because he had a younger team, but he still navigated it and got the team to the NCAA tournament. But could you make the argument that this is even a harder job because you got to keep everyone connected? There's only one basketball, 5 players in 40 minutes. How challenging will that be once they get Magoon back and they have these 10, 11, 12 possible contributors to keep winning and keep everyone content and happy along the way?
Yeah, I mean, I think you really hit on it. That's going to be the issue this season. They have too much talent and too many players, and Brian Dutcher's conscious of that. And it's the reason why he usually doesn't use his 13th scholarship. It's the reason why he always likes to maybe have a guy redshirt, maybe have a couple guys who know they're not going to play, and so he has just kind of 10 bodies that he can focus on. And I think everybody's happier and mentally they're healthier that way. But that's not going to be the case this season. And he's spoken numerous times. He's dropped little hints, like just talking about Miles Heide and Terrell Compton. He said, look, they're both going to have to be mentally tough enough to handle coming off the bench as well as starting, and it probably will be both all season long. And I think they're mature enough to deal with that. And that's going to be the issue this year. You're going to have a guy like B.J. Davis who started 31 games. And, when you have Miles Bird and Reese Dixon Waters, both veteran players, both preseason all-conference players, it's hard to imagine those guys not starting if they're healthy. And that means B.J. Davis isn't. Now, how's he going to handle that? And you have to remember, these guys are 18 to 22-year-old kids. This is their first big-time basketball experience in front of crowds, getting paid. And professionals are different. Guys get to the NBA and they understand it's all about the role. What's my role? Am I a starter? Am I a bench guy? Am I an energy guy? And I play my role, and that's what I'm paid for. It's different in college. Everyone wants to start. Everyone's trying to get to the NBA. Everyone is concerned about themselves because they can transfer and putting up numbers. And so you have all those other factors that make it different than a truly professional environment, which this is on a financial level, but not yet maybe on a mental maturity level. So that, like you said, that's going to be the biggest thing. He's an expert at it. He's done it And, there are a few people in the country, if anybody, who's better at it, but it doesn't mean it's not going to be a challenge.
Do you expect anybody on this roster to redshirt this upcoming year?
I could see one or two guys redshirting for that very reason. Now, who it's going to be, I don't know. And the thing about it is, even if somebody does, if we look at a guy who doesn't play and he says, yeah, our plan is to redshirt him, the question is, well, how long? Is it going to be for the whole season? I mean, you're one injury away from all of a sudden just taking a guy off a red shirt and throwing him in because you have that talent. This isn't a developmental situation where you're redshirting guys because they need to develop and you don't think they're quite ready. And or a guy like Jalen McDaniels is a perfect example. They wanted to have him lift 4 days a week. And they didn't think that was fair to do that while he was trying to prepare and playing games. They could make him more injury prone, and he could prepare himself for the next season just by taking that season off. There isn't a case of that. Even a guy like Tay Simmons, he's got a college ready body. You don't need to do that. And so, I could see them redshirting a guy just to sort of pair the numbers a little bit and make a cleaner rotation. But if someone gets hurt, boom, that guy's off the red shirt and is playing.
Mark, before you go real quick on Magoon, I know Brian Dutcher joked about the idea that he could be back Sunday potentially against Idaho State. Is that at all realistic, or would you expect him to be back in uniform for that third game potentially, which is about a couple of weeks away now?
Yeah, I think the third game's a better target. I mean, look, if he gets clearance on Thursday, and everything's pointing to that he will. His numbers have been really good. They've been really working him hard physically at practice at the opposite end of the court, running stairs, bands, sprints, all these things. And then they test his numbers and his strength numbers, and his repaired knee is pretty much the same as his other knee. So those numbers, I think, are going to impress the doctor, and I think he'll probably get the clearance. The problem is getting game feel back. And Brian Dutcher is really big on not trying to force and rush things. He's got that patience about him because he's an older coach. He's not paranoid. He sees the big picture. And I would highly doubt that he would play the Sunday game, maybe for a few minutes if he really performs well in practice and looks like he could do it. They're ahead. They throw him out there for 5 or 10 minutes. But I think the real target for him look, the big picture is they want him ready to play against Michigan on November 24th. They have one game before that against Troy on the 18th. And I think that would give him, almost 2 weeks of practice, a week and a half of practice. And I think that's the game we'll see him in.
Mark, appreciate the perspective and the insight. And for our listeners, of course, you can find all of his work in the Union Tribune as the Aztecs get underway tonight against Long Beach State. Mark, I'll see you later on tonight. Thanks for doing it.
Yeah.
All right, we will wrap up today's show. So I'm choking on myself there. We'll wrap up today's show coming up next. Also, we'll get you ready for Aztecs and Long Beach State pregame coming up at 6 p.m. right here on San Diego Sports 760. All that coming up next right here on John and Jim on San Diego Sports 760 and live on the iHeartRadio app. All right, back here on John and Jim pregame coming up here at the top of the hour, 7 p.m. tip time, San Diego State and Long Beach State. But before then, Brent, let's get to it. So I had to do a double take on this story today. I didn't believe it. And then when I found out that, okay, it looks like it's real, unless I'm getting duped here. Did you see the Tom Brady dog story?
Oh, yeah. He cloned his dog.
Excuse me? So Tom Brady cloned his former dog that passed away 2 years ago. I saw this on Bleacher Report. This is the first place I saw it this morning. Tom Brady revealed that his current dog, Junie, is a clone of his late dog, Lua, who passed away in December 2023. The dogs were cloned by a biotech company that Brady is an investor in, using blood collected prior to Lua's passing. Excuse me? What? Now, it sounds like crazy, which I think it kind of is. But I would be curious to see how much similarity Brady's dog has now to his dog that passed away. Or is it just like took a blood sample and impregnated a dog, and then it's like the quote unquote clone of Brady's former dog? It's very weird.
I think it just looks like his other dog. It's obviously not going to act exactly the same because it's going to get raised different and, everything else and have different experiences.
It's a clone.
But yeah, it's going to look different. I don't know if I had Tom Brady money, I'd do that.
Hell yeah.
Peanut passed away. I'd clone and have another Peanut.
Bro, when you have FU money,
yeah,
I'm spending it on the most outlandish stuff possible.
And look,
cloning, sure. How much do you want?
It's fine. He's cloning a dog. It's not like he's cloning Giselle or something like that. To where you know what I mean. It's like then we're getting into creepy territory. If like you're cloning your ex, if you want
cloning animals
your dog
is
or your
still
cat or something that passed away. That's fine.
Cloning animals is still, I think, like. I don't know. Is this going to become the norm in the future? Like, hey, we can clone your animals. Like, what?
Not unless it becomes affordable. I think it's less weird than like those people that will get like their dog will pass away and then they'll get it like taxidermied and get it like stuffed.
Yeah, I would never do that.
Yeah, I wouldn't do that. If I had money, I would clone a dead pet though.
So we didn't get to the crumble cookies of the week yesterday. Don't worry, they're still available. Crumble cookies of this week. We have a New York cheesecake. Also a classic fudge brownie. A Martha Stewart's chocolate chip cookie thins. Okay. A coconut layer cake. Bro, these aren't even cookies. These are literal cakes. A pumpkin sheet cake. A Mile High lemon pie. And then a chocolate tart cookie. Look, I'm just going to say this. Every single week we have told you the crumble cookies of the week. Pretty much every week, all fire. I don't know, Brent. These disappoint me a little bit from the standpoint of these aren't cookies. These are cakes and cheesecakes and brownies.
Yeah, but those cookies are big enough that they're practically like eating a cake anyways.
But they only have one cookie on here. It's the chocolate tart cookie. Everything else, cheesecake, brownie, a layer cake, a sheet cake, a lemon pie. Don't get me wrong. They're probably all delicious. But at the same time, it's crumble cookie, not crumble cake. Am I being picky?
Yes. Maybe it's not cookie month. Maybe it's
cake
brownie
month
or cake month or something. I don't know.
I mean, okay. And finally, let me just pull this up here. McDonald's, Brent, has released a new Chips Ahoy frappe nationwide. McDonald's is adding a sweet new twist to its McCafe lineup with the debut of its Chips Ahoy frappe, a limited time frozen drink that's already turning heads across the U.S. The new release officially has hit participating restaurants. McDonald's creamy mocha frappe based with the nostalgic crunch of Chips Ahoy cookies. I do love me some Chips Ahoy. It does bring me back to my childhood. More sugar, the better, I guess. Just give me all the sugar.
I don't know. I guess I'd rather have my coffee taste like cookies than coffee.
That is true. Hey, if you're going to give me a coffee, I like it to taste like cookies. You're not a big coffee guy?
No. By the time I'm done putting like cream and sugar in it, I might as well just drink like milk with, energy drink or something in it because I put in a lot.
Yeah, I am not the biggest coffee guy either. But it's grown on me recently. It's grown on me over the last couple of years. But I still need that like sweet element to it. Like I can't, so I have some friends that all they drink is coffee black, like just black coffee. I'm like, no, dude, I can't do it. I need like a white chocolate mocha. Yeah, I'm basic. Sorry.
Yeah, I need like a caramel macchiato or something like that.
Always
at the
iced.
very least. Yeah,
never
always,
hot.
Yes, always.
Always iced. All right, that'll do it for today's show. Thanks to Mark Ziegler for joining us on the show. Thanks to Brent. Thanks to John. Thanks to all of you out there. Coming up next, our pregame, Aztecs and Long Beach State, the opener of the San Diego State basketball season coming up at 7 p.m. But coming up next, we have Aztec pregame with Fletch courtside at Viejas Arena. Aztec pregame coming up next right here on San Diego Sports 760 and live on the iHeartRadio app.